Oh, sorry, guys. I forgot to turn my camera on. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for the most excited I've basically been all season. And why is that? Because we don't have to suffer watching Chelsea for a whole 6 weeks starting now. And that is the best news I've heard in about 3 months. I can't lie. This is flipping fantastic. Everything else about today is flipping miserable. I'm just watching the F1 on the side here, by the way, and it's all kicking off between George Russell and Max Verstappen. So if I seem distracted, please do apologize. That's even more depressing because why Ferrari not in this? But, you know, everything just has to go against me. That's just how it fucking goes. But anyway, we were sat here yesterday talking about, oh, Chelsea good enough to beat Newcastle. Turns out we're not. Not exactly surprising, that one. But yeah, we took certainly a more pragmatic, well, I say more. We took a defensive approach to the game. Maybe to some extent, understandably so, because, like, obviously recent results. But then we lose anyway, and then you're obviously like, well, that weren't fucking worth it, was it? Especially when the losing goal is conceded literally 2 minutes after changing from a back five to a back four, back three to a back four, whichever you want to call it. Doesn't matter, does it? That is not ideal. Now, first, we created our own first real chance of the game, and then a minute later, we conceded. And then it was just it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was just it. We can't do any more at the moment. Is it injuries? Is it the manager? Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But I've seen so much negativity at the moment. And it's really gutting, that one. Like, it's really gutting. And I understand where the negativity comes from. Even I tweeted during the first half. I'm like, I'm giving Potter time. I know some people are not, but I'm giving Potter time. But if we play like this still, second half of the season, like, we don't have to be perfect, obviously, in the next 6 months. That's unrealistic. We don't have to be even incredible in the next 6 months. That's, again, unrealistic. But we can't be playing like that. Like, you can't even call that attack. Like, when we try to attack, it's not even attacking. Like, it's just a load of something. Like, it's just a load of nothing. It's just like, honestly, like, I'm all supportive of this and this, like, project, and like, okay, yeah, let's see how it goes. We see how bright bat it does. But at the moment, I'll be as honest as I can be. I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, things don't work from one day to another. But I don't see anything really, other than, well, since Reece James got injured, I don't see anything. And that is concerning. And now basically we have to sit here and hope that the World Cup saves us. Because that's essentially what we have to hope for. Because otherwise, that's all the hope we've got. Clutch, thank you for being back on. Now, you know what, actually, just because Pice is probably a bit more negative than you are, just to swing it like, you know, an up and down and up and down, I'll go to Pice first. Sorry, bro. Pice, thank you for being on. You're probably not as, you know, still clinging on to positivity as I am, but weren't pretty today, that's for sure. And if it's not pretty and you lose, then it ain't good, is it?
Nope. I don't really know what to say, to be honest. I think the most worrying thing is that I know the result before kickoff. That's the most worrying thing. I had absolutely no emotion or hope going into today because I knew we were going to lose.
You should at least be a rich man, you know. Put some money on every time.
I should start to, honestly, because I don't know if I'm even angry or frustrated. I'm just I feel nothing at the moment. As a supporter, I just don't. I don't feel anything. I don't watch. That for me is not Chelsea out there. That's just, I don't know. That might as well have been just another random side. I don't know what the point of that game was. Like, genuinely, I think we had our first actual decent shot in the 66th minute or something. Yeah, I don't know. You're probably not going to agree with some of the stuff I say on here, but I say it again. I'm struggling to feel the connection right now between the players, the manager, the fans. I don't see it. It's just a whole lot of nothing for me. You know what I mean? It's just another game in the calendar. I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I don't know what I'm expecting of Chelsea now. We sit 8th in the table. It's some of the worst football that I've watched. Nothing really has improved if we're being hand on heart honest with ourselves. And, you know, you the other day said that, or previous streams, that, you know, you might as well just be a bit positive because we don't want to feel down about ourselves. But I'd rather be down than just hold this sort of fake positivity and just, let's just keep going. Let's see where it leads us, because I want something to believe in as a fan. Just one thing. Just show me one little thing. I don't see apps. I don't see anything. Please make a thread. Please do something for me to read so I can believe in. Please, I want to read something. I want to hear something that I believe in, because I don't believe in anything with this manager or these players. Yeah, we need to rebuild 100%. Yeah, we've got big injuries, but who says he's the guy to do it? Who says he's good enough to do it? Who says he's the guy to do it? You know what I mean? Who says he's got the mentality to do it? Who says he's got the experience in the big games to do it? These are the questions I want answered.
It's true. It's true. There's a lot of problems. You say not necessarily directed at me, I know, but you say write something, say something. It's difficult. At the same time, by the way, Carlos Sainz just overtook Max Verstappen. Great time I'm having. Now about Lewis Hamilton is about to overtake him, which is even better. Not even better for me. Anyway, I'm waffling. I'm just trying to distract myself from what's happening in it, because now the whole connection thing, like I say, we've discussed this plenty, you and me, Pice, in terms of that. We just where our connection comes from. That's just the different part. So then you're more likely to feel disconnected than I am, because I get the connection from other things, right? That's okay. Everyone's
Where
different.
are you getting the connection from? Can you tell me again, please?
For me, it's just it's nothing to do with the players or the manager or the success. That's not where the connection to Chelsea comes from. To me, it's just, I want to be one of a group of people that support this team, the same team as I do. And when I say team, I don't mean just 11 on the pitch or the players, just the football club as a whole. And we will stick together, and we will stick with that no matter what happens. It doesn't matter whether it's a shit show. It doesn't matter whether we're amazing. We will always stick together and support, and that's where I get the connection from. Now, while I was
you don't have a connection to these players or manager, though.
I do accept that other people just see differently, and that's fair.
There's no way you have a connection to these players or manager. You have a connection to the name and the badge.
Why I
agree, I do
to
too.
find my connection from that, right?
Agree. I have a connection to the badge and the name too, because that's why I watch these dog shit games.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it's not like I do it necessarily on purpose, but because like you say there, if you have this connection to, say, Tuchel, you did, and now you don't to the manager, obviously there's going to be gutting. So I'm just not even going to start that. I had it with Jose. We spoke about this in the past, and then he got sacked second time around. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. It's true. I'm not saying that makes everything okay. I'm just saying that's why I can't use the phrase "I feel disconnected from the club." That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, I can't give you hope. Now, I saw RP, Rob is his name, journalism, I think that it's just RP journalism, I think. Say something like, someone was replying, it's like, yeah, Pote is good enough, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and was it you that said, we don't have time to wait for this and this long? And then he said, well, this is because of this mentality, we can't have a dynasty.
No, that's seriously daily. I just put a dot and ratio there.
Oh, was it seriously daily? Okay, there you go.
Just bored of this talk. It's pissing me off. Again,
anyone
that says this, please, anyone that says this, anyone that wants this process, we don't have time, blah, 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 or we have time, back him, look at Arteta. Can you do me a fucking thread or something why I should believe in this guy? Tell me, please. I'm fucking annoyed with it. Tell me, please, why I should wait. Tell me. We should not wait.
Why should you not?
Tell me. Because he's not good. Look at his tactics. Look at his tactics. Look at his mentality. Look at the way he's not a Chelsea manager. You can't tell me this guy's a Chelsea manager. He knows fuck all about the club. He has no connection with the fans. His tactics are fucking shit. We've improved nothing football-wise. He's clueless. He's clueless. Just say it. I'm fed up of this shit. He's clueless. There's nothing to believe in.
But why? What makes you think he's clueless when his Brighton team absolutely smacked us a new one?
It's Brighton. No matter what the manager. We've lost to big teams, all the small teams, all the fucking time. No matter what the manager is. How does Brighton end up translating into just because Brighton were good? Does that mean Chelsea? We should wait 3 years and then he's good enough to challenge for the title? Because look at what his Brighton team did. Well, that's the only.
Okay,
bro, that's the only reason why people are saying.
Let me answer.
It's stupid.
I see what you're saying, but with that logic, if we take that logic that you're trying to apply now, if we take a deeper dive into that, by that logic, which manager can you ever do that with? Because, and now don't say Tuchel, because Tuchel didn't have a track record of being successful long-term anywhere either. So there, you could ask literally the same question. What should make, like, if anything, the last 18 months showed us why you shouldn't trust Tuchel to be the long-term thing, because it's great at the beginning, then it got worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, would it have gotten better? Maybe. But we don't have to prove from anywhere else that will be the case, right?
At least he's got the background. At least we saw with him against top managers that he beat all the top managers. At least he had the mentality. At least he had all those things. At least 3 or 4 box ticks. Potter doesn't tick one box.
Separating it because you asked, why should I give him that time? Why shall I give him that time to be a long-term manager, right? And my question is, but if it doesn't say you don't want it to be Potter, that's okay. But who do you want it to be? Because you say, where is the proof? Why do I believe in that? But there, other than Klopp and Pep Guardiola, name me one other manager that's currently active that's had a long-term successful reign anywhere. Anywhere. Name me one. They don't exist. There's these two, and that's it. Because
I'd have to think about it. I'm sure
technically Jose, but I'm not bringing Jose back.
So who is it? Clutch. Oh, who was saying something there?
I said technically you could say Jose's had long-term success at places, but I'm not bringing Jose back.
Like the longest he's had success at was us from 2004 to 2007. And
but it was
never more than 2 years. So
I'd rather have fucking Lampard back than this guy. Honestly, there's no difference.
Yeah, well, see, and the problem is you say that, and I can't sit here and say you're wrong, because when I see us play today, we take a defensive approach. Okay, I understand, I accept, but then you don't do anything. You're not exactly that amazing defensively. Like it was more like that Newcastle weren't finishing their situations off properly, if we're honest with ourselves. Then we try to change it to be a bit better going forward. We do that, I guess, with that Gallagher shot that Pope saves. And then, we concede straight away. And then you sit there in that game, and then especially the first half, you're like, we don't even know how to attack, like, let alone do we have any idea what to do, right? Like, that's what it looks like. And I understand that that's frustrating. But again, and I made that point the other day, what benefit do you get out of sacking Potter now? Like, we're just going to ridicule our club. Like, what player, what manager will believe whatever Boehly, whatever any of the other people that are in charge of Chelsea now, whatever any of them will tell them, how, like, no, they won't believe a word because, well, we told Potter those things. And then if we sack them 2 months later, we told Tuchel those things.
It doesn't have to be a long-term manager, though. We need someone that can be short-term for this season to get us top 4, and then you say bye-bye in the summer, and then you get someone like a Graham Potter, you give him a whole summer and a whole transfer window, and then you let him work from there. You don't fucking bring him in 8 games in the season. If we finish 7th or 8th, we ain't even going to get the players we want, bro, to rebuild. These guys ain't coming anyway.
But, mate, I actually agree with that. But that ship has already sailed.
Yeah, right? it's the owner's fault. It's the owner's fault. I said this when Tuchel went. So it's a stupid time to bring him in. I was looking forward to it because, we've seen what he's done in the past, but it's a stupid time to bring him in. Absolutely stupid. They've not helped him at all. He's not helping himself, but they've not helped him either. You don't it's just so many things wrong, man. There's so many things wrong with him.
Let me give it to Clutch, and we'll talk more about this in a second. By the way, thank you for the super chat, SS. Even though I'm not a fan of the name, but maybe you're from other places where this means different things. This is what we get for sacking a world-class manager. Shit, I'm just not even gonna bleep it because shit. Clutch, what is your perspective? Whether it's on today's game, whether it's on the cry out for help, really, by Pice, like, what have you got to say in response?
I mean, I'm not going to discount the way people feel. Obviously, I think, the problem that I seem to have is when we talk about what do you want within this club, do you want long-term success or do you want short-term success? Most people tell me long-term, but they're too impatient to wait for that long-term, right? Growing takes pain. We will have pain if you want growth. That's anything in life. I promise you. I swear to you, that is how it works. If you want to grow, it's going to take time to pain. Now, I agree with sacking Tuchel the way we did. Is like in that situation, that was stupid. We should have done it way before we ever gave him Aubameyang, before we ever gave him Cucurella or Koulibaly. You should have had the plan in place beforehand and got Potter, and then you could start doing that. Because Aubameyang's trash, and yet we already seen him today. You see how he's looking on the sidelines? He's mad. He doesn't want to do it anymore. And you have to, like, I think there's so many things that go into this. It's like, we're having problems because there's injuries, because there's too many games. We're playing a game every 3 days. There's too many injuries. Football has become this gigantic money-making machine that we always have to be playing games, always have to be doing something. And it's just, that is a problem within itself. The World Cup is a problem that is happening right now. There's just so many problems that come into this. Like, for me, my problem with Graham Potter right now is we're getting it wrong from the start every time. Every time. Tell me why I look out there and I see Mason Mount, Gallagher, and Broja when only one of them deserves to start today. And that'd be Broja. Mount's been shit for 3 months now. Gallagher's not done anything. And yet you have, like, who thought you were going to break down a defense with those three? Who? Like, it makes no sense when we do things that I don't understand. And then when we do bring on a dribbler, we look 1,000 times better. It's crazy how that works. Now, I'm not saying Pulisic should have started or anything like that, but you see what happens when you put a player like that on. And Sterling, I see now Christensen all of a sudden. You can't play because you have a headache every 5 seconds. Like, I expect the chat to go off on him like you would go off on.
Like, that was the most outrageous thing I heard all day.
Like, it makes no sense. Like, why are you not on the field? I don't understand. You have a headache, bro? Are you like, we used to make fun of Christensen for that. You're Sterling. You make the most money on the team, bro. Like, what are you doing? If you're waiting for the World Cup, I don't even fucking want you anymore. Go away. I don't care. I don't care. Mount's been trash. Everybody's been trash. And it's sad that the one player who like Pulisic actually tried today. And that's weird. That's weird for him to have to come on even though I didn't think he would. I said it in the group chat. I didn't think he'd try, and he proved me wrong. It's crazy what we do. And it just, everybody looks so bad. And yes, we don't have Kante. Yes, we don't have Reece James, and Reece James is our best player. So our offense revolves around him. But it's so many things. It's not one thing or the other. Potter, my problem with Potter right now is he's just not getting it right from the beginning. And we're not learning lessons. Like, Mason Mount doesn't care anymore. I can tell. Why is he still playing? Gallagher I don't know who Gallagher is. I don't know. I can't tell you his strength. If we're going to put those two on the field, why were we not pressing from the start? Like, those are the only two things that those two good players are good at. So do it. Otherwise, they're just not going to do shit. And they didn't do shit. So I think it's just, there's so many things that like revolve into this conversation. I don't think, and I can completely understand where Pius is coming from. I mean, the team I support here in the United States for NFL has been ass for like 10 years now. And it's been a suffer, and I still support him. Even though I don't feel that connection with anybody on the team, I still support him. And I do get where Pius has that connection, but I think we need to like calm down a little bit, because there's just so many things that are going into this conversation, and the World Cup is actually such a good thing that's happening right now, because it's going to take our minds off it. It's going to give us some breathing room. Hopefully Potter comes back from this World Cup and makes plans, and he's spending this entire time working with players that aren't going to be there, working on fitness. Reece James coming back. Like, there's so many things I think that go into this but like today we got it wrong from the start. And I mean, let's not twist it. Newcastle are a good team. They're a very good team, but they didn't play like their best players. Why is St. Maximin not playing? It's not like he's going to a World Cup.
He just came back from injury. That's why it wasn't a bench.
Okay. But yeah, so that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's a tough one, because for me, the funny thing is the wrong word, but the strange thing is that after the last three, like, think back to Brighton. We lost that game. We were like, no, we've got Arsenal, City, Newcastle. We're going to lose all of them. Now, we did. But we knew that already after we played Brighton. Now, we obviously all put ourselves up as like, maybe we won't. But realistically, we all knew that was going to happen. Like, especially after City. Did any of you have even this much hope of beating Newcastle? But like, my biggest hope was to get a draw, man. Like, I'm telling you. And maybe, yeah, this isn't right. This isn't ideal. But man, it is the current situation. I can't like create my own fake alternative reality in my head where Chelsea are still as good as we were the day we played Man City in the Champions League final. Well, it's a nice idea, but we're not. So like that is the situation, right? And now when Pius asks like, why give him time? Why not give somebody else time? That is a valid question. That is a valid question. Absolutely. Because, yeah, Potter has proven certain things at Brighton, but that is at a different level. How do we know if you can translate that to Chelsea? We don't know. How can you know for sure? That's always what happens when you get a manager that hasn't had a proven track record at the very level you compete at as the club that has now appointed him. That is just how it is. But what I will say is, didn't start off amazing at Brighton either. In the end, they got better and better. Now, again, I understand if you say, but we're not Brighton. Yeah, but obviously you have to also like translate it a little bit in terms of ability and in terms of stature, right? So I expect, because we have more money, we will put more in. The upwards trajectory will hopefully, in an ideal world, at least be quicker. And when I say that, I don't mean it should have happened in the first 2 months, but still a bit quicker than at Brighton. And also because just, you know, we know that he can make it better. How good he can make it, we don't know that. But that my question with that is, again, where I'm like, yeah, but who do you know it with, though? That's the problem right now, right? Because you can't exactly say, oh, well, it would have been so much better with that guy, or it would have been so much better with that guy. We don't know. Like, we just have to sit here now and see if it works. Like, that's all we can do. We can sit here and shout our lungs out and cry our hearts out at the fact this isn't good enough. Our manager is shit. Our manager doesn't know what he's doing. Like, do you think Potter wants to play like this? Obviously, this is not like, oh yeah, I'm going into the game against Newcastle. I'm going to basically park the bus, try to counter-attack, figure out I'm really bad at counter-attacking, or my team is. Then I switch formation and we have one chance, concede immediately. And then we're 1-0 down at one of the most difficult places to win, full stop anyway. Like, it was difficult to beat Newcastle at St. James's Park, even in seasons they got relegated in. Like, mind you, Jose Mourinho has never won at St. James's Park. I'm not sure maybe he did at United or Spurs, but as Chelsea manager, Jose Mourinho did not once win at St. James's Park. Not once. And that was in record-breaking seasons, like 3 Premier League titles. We had 3 Premier League title-winning seasons.
It's not an excuse to play like we did today. It's not an excuse at all. And this is what these Potter supporters keep doing. They keep going, oh, well, yeah, against this, we haven't beat those under Tuchel. We didn't do this under Mourinho. Like, fuck off. We're here with this guy now. You know what I mean? Stop going back to the past. Like, I don't understand it, Laurenz. We're here now. We want to see something we should believe in with this team, with this manager.
But here's my question.
Come on, tell me. I'm waiting for it, bruv. Come on.
I have one question for everybody who says this. In the world, who are Chelsea level managers? And don't say Tuchel's not coming back. So everybody who says that, no, he's not coming back. Forget Tuchel. Other than Tuchel, who is Chelsea level that we could get?
Luis Enrique, Hansi Flick.
Is Hansi Flick going to leave the World Germany Cup to do that?
Because he's obviously an elite level tactical manager who builds his team around technicians, which is the exact thing you need in the Premier League. This guy's playing fucking road runners, bro, instead of the technical players on the bench.
No, I disagree.
You're not wrong.
With Luis Enrique.
Why didn't he not start Pulisic today?
At Barcelona. Wasn't Luis Enrique the Barca manager when they had Messi, Neymar, Suarez?
Yes.
Yeah. My fucking nan could win anything with them 3. Like, obviously, if you give Potter, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar
just watch
in their
Spain,
prime,
bro. You'll see. Spain have got a dog shit team and they play good.
No. But it's fact. If you've got those 3 players,
I'm not talking about Barcelona.
Reasonable attacking football work. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not talking about Barcelona.
Also, the people in the chat who said Zidane, I can't wait for you to see that train wreck happen if he comes here. That will be an absolute train wreck that you would never want to see again.
At least he'd have the mentality, though.
He has 0 ability to coach tactics. 0. He would get outcoached every time.
This is the one thing.
Wouldn't get outcoached by Eddie Howe.
This is the main thing for me that
Eddie Howe's one of the top managers, though. He's so good.
Nonsense, man. Nonsense.
Eddie Howe single-handedly changed.
The one thing that I let Pies have, right? Where it's like the mentality of Potter. I do agree. I don't like the way he acts. I don't like the way he just deals with things. I don't like that either. But again, like, I'm not sat here saying, like, that's you know, you ask me the question, I'm like, you need to believe in it. That's not the point. Like, I'm not that hard behind it that I can't tell you this. That's the problem, right? Because I'm not as hard against things as you are, but I'm just sat here, okay, well, we're not going to sack the manager now. Let's be honest. We will not. No matter how much we cry about it, it will not happen. So let's see how it goes. I don't know. And then the only things I can go back to is his time at Brighton, his time in the past, and certain things that he's done right, which we can hopefully translate to how things will hopefully work at Chelsea. But for sure, I don't know. I don't know. There's probably some Chelsea fans that are proper behind you, are like, shut up the second you say something bad. But you can say, like Fade in the chat, you can say sack Graham Potter all you want. Todd Boehly isn't going to sack him. Like, it doesn't make a difference.
Hopefully the fans turn. Hopefully that happens.
But we now have the World Cup, though. Who's going to turn on what? Like, turn on who?
Well, after the World Cup, because I'm sure nothing will improve. So hopefully they'll just boo the team off every single game, and they'll either get rid of the whole fucking team or they get rid of the manager. At the end of the day, we're going to win somehow. It's just going to fucking.
I think that's a very spoiled mentality to have, though. Like, it is what it is. It happens.
Good. I don't want to fucking wait 2 years for Chelsea to be good again. Fuck that. Why should I?
Then we can sit in that same. Then we'll never win another Premier League, Pius. It's just how it is. You will not do it with doing the way we're doing things. It's just not going to happen. We don't have the money City have. We don't have the planning that Liverpool had. Like, it's just not going to happen. So either you wait for long-term success and you keep bitching about how this growing is going to happen, or you can go back to just winning a title every 3 years. It doesn't really matter.
There's no reason, though, Clutch, why I should sit here and wait 2 or 3 years with this specific manager.
You can feel how you want to feel. I'm just saying, what do you want? If you want trophies every year, then you're going to have a manager get sacked once every 2 years. That's just how it is. Or if you want long-term success, you can wait. Maybe Potter isn't. I'm not saying Potter's the right one. I'm not saying that at all. I actually don't even like him that much myself.
Why is there this idea? Is it just because of our experience with these certain managers that you can't find a manager out there who has top-level experience that can also last
that's
3, 4, 5 years?
Who?
No,
Yeah,
you're only
we're not getting Pep. I wish
Like, if I asked you about Luis Enrique, when we signed Tuchel, you would have said no.
I wouldn't mind him, actually. I wanted
now
Nagelsmann.
That you're desperate because you don't like Potter, all of a sudden Luis Enrique's all of a sudden.
I wanted Nagelsmann. I wanted Nagelsmann when we had Tuchel.
National team football to the same as Luis Garcia is talking about Hansi Flick. Now, he was great at Bayern Munich. Now, fell out with everyone in the space of 18 months at that club. Not sure how that's possible because everyone loved the guy. All of a sudden, he started hating on everyone. Not sure how that's possible. But yeah, Hansi Flick is a good manager. Would he translate it to Premier League? Sure, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Does he want to leave Germany after the World Cup? Has anyone considered that? The guy's not been in the job for very long. He didn't do the Euros, did he? The Euros was still Joachim Löw, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But I swear it was. Right? You just sat there and say, like, oh, get Hansi Flick then. Well, fucking it's not...
Wasn't Nagelsmann about to get sacked?
You don't just walk into Poundland and you just don't just pick up the managers from yourself, do you? Like, so it's not quite how it works. Sorry, I need to get through a few more super chats. And Richard, by the way, I did see your very beginning super chat as well, but I want to touch on it once we actually get to talking about the team because that's kind of what it touches upon. That's why I haven't highlighted it yet. SS with another super chat saying the problem is we don't see any progress to back him, and this is the problem, and this is the problem that I agree with as well because I don't see it. Like so far, I don't see it. The only thing I can say is where I sit here and I'm like, okay. The only thing I don't know is I can see that there's no process. But what I don't know for sure is whether there would be process under anybody else. Because would there be process with these injuries, with this schedule, with, this little amount of time of training? Because we go back to it, like what Pies touched on earlier, and Clutch, in terms of when the manager was appointed, when the manager before that was sacked, how the manager before that was backed in the window in a way that doesn't really suit the manager that we have then now, and 2 days after the fucking transfer window shut, we got. Those are all problems that happened. Those are all mistakes that were made. Absolutely. And you will never hear me disagree with that. Even on the day, even the day it happened, I was like, well, I don't understand this. Do you know what I mean? As much as I was like, in the end, Tuchel will get sacked because it felt like that to me. I could have been wrong. I don't know. But it felt like that to me. In the end, that's what we got. So now we're here. And you can say the fans will pile up the pressure. I don't think Boehly will budge to that. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think Boehly will budge to that. Like, have you seen these American owners? Have you seen the things that Man United fans have done? And the American owners have not given two shits? You really think Boehly is going to care? He's going to be like, well
he better go back to America then.
Because... And at some point, it's going to get better. He's going to believe in that. Like, he has to believe in it from his perspective, right?
So he's go back to America then.
Well, yeah. But in his opinion... it's going to get better eventually. Now, it might not get better quickly enough, but Pies, the one thing I will say is you don't go from as bad as it is now, it doesn't take 2-3 years until we're any good again. Now, it might take 2
well, that's what everyone's fucking telling me. Okay, then should I... Well, when do you expect us to be challenging for the league? Because I ain't waiting for 3 years. I don't know, but what
I do know is that with the process that you want us to
go neither are the 40,000 match-going fans, by the way.
How you want us to keep running the club, like that way, we didn't compete for the title for 5 years. So how does 3 years look bad? That's what I don't see. Because you were seemingly okay with that system, and we weren't anywhere near the title for 5 years.
That's
I can tell you now,
we will never. We don't have the money to.
Weren't awful, and that's the part I don't understand.
People just don't understand. These fans, this fan base that goes week in, week out, will not accept a very long period without either trophies to hold them over, which is essentially what we did, because as you said, we didn't win the Premier League in so long. We haven't won the Premier League so long. So Graham Potter either has to win a trophy this season or next season to tide the fans over, or he literally has to do that, because otherwise, I'm telling you now, these fans. Bro, I've been around that. I know what it's like at the games. It will get toxic. It will.
I know. I understand. You see it now, and this is why when earlier last year, I remember saying this in the middle of the summer, telling people that this fan base is so spoiled that they don't understand what it takes for long-term success. I get it. I trust me. I understand. I get it. I do. I support teams that don't win shit all the time. It's just how it is. That's me. But here's the thing. It's just, what do you want? What is your goal? If you want a trophy every season, that's on you. I'm not saying that. That's okay. But then you're going to throw the Premier League out the window, because it just doesn't exist like that. That's not how life works. City figured it out. Liverpool figured it out. They know how to do it. It's long-term success comes from long-term planning, and there will be pain. I mean, Arteta has a job because Pulisic blew a hammy. If he didn't win that trophy, he would have been out. That's just how it is. I agree.
By the way, Liverpool, for all this, Klopp has done amazing. They've only won one Premier League title, by the way, in the amount of years he's been there.
And they won a Champions League. And yes, I agree.
So have we. We did that as well.
But how close are they?
Arteta's had half a good season out of 3. So is that what we're waiting for? Are we waiting for 2 years for now for us to go on an Arteta-type run this season and not end up winning the fucking league?
I mean, if that is the way I get to the Premier League trophy,
then they sit there having won the league. I don't know if they will. You don't know if they will. I bloody hope they won't. But they might. And then you can't, that argument of yours is completely out the window just because you're not willing to wait until May. Do you know what I mean?
And then there's also the argument, is he good enough tactically? An Arteta who actually learned under the greatest manager, Pep Guardiola, for 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? There's so many angles to it.
No,
I agree.
And I think that's fair. But I think that's where it's difficult, because when you're so against it, when you're so disappointed, desperate, and angry by the situation, like Pisces, and I don't hold anything against that for it, because, fair enough, each to their own. But like I said, I'm not sat here on the complete other spectrum, so I can't just shout back at you saying, and we have a shouting match about why we believe or why we do not believe in it. I can just sit here and ask you the question. So what we want to do is win the Premier League, win the Champions League, right? Those are the main things. Yeah, sure.
Laurenz, I don't think it's actually about the fans, by the way. I don't even think... I think it's less about the fans thing. I think it's about what these players think. I know we have to rebuild, but you ain't going to get 10, 11 players out in a space of however a January and next summer. I just refuse to believe it can be done. So again, I don't want to keep going back to Tuchel, but what he said on that podcast with the players will believe in a process until there's you've got to get results basically. And yeah, these players are at fault for a lot as well. They're shit. I want a lot of them out, but I have a bad feeling that it's gone bad already. It's genuinely horrible to watch these players, and they're not even I genuinely think why is Aubameyang on the bench today? If they're falling out, what's that all about? You bring Havertz on instead of
put him on the bench.
But bro, he's a striker who scored 200 plus career goals. If we wanted someone in the fucking box who has 200 plus career goals, you bring him on instead of fucking Kai Havertz, don't you? So why is he on the bench? I don't get it. It's more about the players, really. You've seen how many managers they've kicked out
on the bench. The bigger question is why he's at the football club. But again, that's another thing that happened. Is what it is now. Tuchel randomly picked players. It is. I don't fucking know why he does it. It's fucking ridiculous why he does half the things. But fact of the matter is, if I ask you the question, how do you believe that we win the Premier League anytime soon if we go back to the way you want to do things? Do you genuinely believe in that?
But I don't want to go back to that way of doing it. I don't want to hire and fire managers. No, I don't. I want someone. I wanted Tuchel here for 3-4 years because I believed he was at that level of coach to win us the league. I didn't believe in everything, but I believed he was at that level. Okay. That's what I believe. I want someone. I wish it was Potter. I hope it is Potter. I don't know. I don't know if it is, but right now he fucking certainly isn't with some of the shit he's doing.
Okay, no, that's fair. You wanted it to be Tuchel, and as did I. I felt like it wasn't working, but initially I wanted that too. But let's know where we are. That's not happening right now because Tuchel isn't here anymore. So now we have two options. Either we stick with Potter for either a little longer or much longer. Those, I guess, then three options. But stick with Potter or sack Potter. And if you sack Potter, then who's available? Like, Tuchel isn't going to come back. Boehly isn't going to bring Tuchel back. So then what? Is any of these other managers that are potentially available, do you believe in those like you would have Tuchel? Or would you then sit here because you believed in Tuchel that way, not from the get-go? You didn't believe in Tuchel that way from January 27th when we appointed him in 2021. You start believing in him as his first few months came along and we wanted Champions League and we all built a connection with him. And that's understandable. I'm not saying
he still had that. When things are not going right on the pitch, you've got to look at the fallback options. A, are they experienced? 2, are they trophy winners? 3 or C or whatever the fuck I'm going off are, have they been in the league before? 4, do they have the mentality? Like, there's so many different tick boxes for me. And even early on, I was like, okay, Tuchel is experienced. He's got clearly the mentality to compete against the top coaches. Clearly, he's a good tactician, even if we were drawing a lot of games. So I thought, okay, let's stick with him. Let's shift out some of these players, and we'll see what happens. But with Potter, I'm sitting here like, look at these tick boxes. I'm like, tactics, no. Mentality, no. Press conferences, quotes, connection with the fans, no.
Thing already now.
Because he's like, what do you think he's going to just clearly improve over the next year? He's quite an experienced, he's quite an old guy,
I think he wants to play a certain way, and I think Potter is very aware.
But
that's why he went more pragmatic in the last few games.
Laurenz, he's doing things that people would absolutely cut Tuchel's head off for.
Yeah,
Gallagher right wing back. He changed it after 10 minutes and went to a 4-3-3. He's got Lewis Hall, a midfielder, put him lone fucking left back. It's not even the same as left wing back.
He played left centre back under Thomas Tuchel, bro.
Yeah, what for a random? I'm talking about Premier League, bro. His Premier League debut, left back.
Yeah, why is that? Because Chilwell is injured and Cucurella is half ill, and that's why he was only on the bench. So who else do you play?
But he brought Cucurella on, didn't he? So why didn't he when he decided when he decided to go to that back four? Why did he keep Lewis Hall on? Why didn't he not go? Okay, we're going for a back four now. We sub Cucurella on left, straight away. I don't understand that. It's so wishy-washy. Some games are like, fuck me, that was a good change, Other games are like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, but why is Lewis Hall and left back all of a sudden the problem? Like, that's I don't see how you.
Because he shouldn't be left wing back, left back either. But at least with left wing back, you've got someone behind you. Koulibaly is not a left centre back; he's a second centre back. Why is Chalobah playing second centre back over Koulibaly? Koulibaly's done interviews saying I like playing in the middle. So why are you fucking playing him on the left then? I don't understand it. Why did Tuchel do it either? It's stupid.
That's the issue.
It's fucking stupid, bro. I'm fed up with this wishy-washy bullshit.
It isn't stupid. It's not stupid. There's a simple reason. Thiago Silva isn't ideal on the left of a 3. Chalobah isn't ideal on the left of a 3. Cucurella wasn't fit to start. All right. Then what options do you have? Koulibaly's the only one that can play there. Okay, so he has to play there. And then you have to find someone else to play in the middle. Chalobah. Like, there's a logic behind it. You might not like it, but there is a logic behind it. I think we're getting like a bit out of hand about what we're talking about here because, I feel like we're jumping conversational topics left, right, center now. Because again, like you trust the Tuchel, like you then start the tactical thing about Graham Potter, right? Did you watch Brighton and think they are absolutely ridiculous, like completely lost tactically? Did you watch that and see that? No, you didn't. So why?
I only watched. Brighton aren't always on the TV. A lot of their fans, they drew shit tons of games against shit teams. They turned up against the big teams quite a lot of the time.
The shit teams.
Yeah, but they were he still had 3 years to build a lot better than the teams they were playing. That's what I'm saying. They played good football.
They were fourth when he got sacked. Last season.
Yeah,
Brighton, 9th is good. Like, stop saying this is not Chelsea. No, it's not. It's Brighton. For them, 9th is good. Like, let's not lie about it. It's like when Wolves finished 7th. That was good because it's Wolves, right?
I have JP. Don't worry. Sorry, I was replying to a comment. I hope you never break up the girl you love. I have. I've been through it.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, these comments are a bit mad right now, but
the comments are a bit mad. Hey, that's what happens when you have 665 people. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, by the way, do subscribe. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Now that we have over 600 of you, I'm sure there's plenty of you that haven't subscribed yet. So please do. Smash the like button and also hit the notification bell button and hit all so you don't miss any future streams, because me, Pice, often Clutch, someone else, we go back and forth all the time. So if you're having a good time, make sure you come back. Do you know what I mean? But one last thing I wanted to say on that before we get finally to player raise after 45 minutes already, and to the other super chats that I haven't touched on yet. Again, you might not like that, but so the start of Potter's time at Chelsea, I'm just explaining how I think what happened. If you can then say if you disagree with this. So I think at the start, it was like, okay, I want to start trying to play the way I want to play. We saw certain things, how we're more direct, how we got into the box better. We had more shots. We had more better XG. We had more chances created. It was all well and good. And then we also had a load of XG, like a load of clean sheets in a row, right? It was fantastic. We was all having a great time. Then Reece James gets injured. Then we still keep one clean sheet after that with the Villa game, but kept up bailed their asses, and somehow man scored 2 goals, even though he knew nothing about it, because the free kick was decent, but the keeper had the stinker. And then the other one, Tyrone Mings, I mean, what a mug. And then it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse from there, right? So initially, we were trying to play that way. Then he stuck with that, and then because without Reece James, and then it got, like I said, we picked more and more injuries. I also think Reece James getting injured, then Chile getting injured, makes the whole rest of the team way more scared of getting injured ahead of the World Cup compared to if no one got injured. Meaning that, you know how we were talking about against Arsenal, losing every second ball. Those are the things that affect those things. And then he started, okay, I'm taking a step back, not him, but as in we're doing it a bit more pragmatic, a bit more defensive, and then we became miserable to watch. And we all agree with this. I agree with this. It was miserable, absolutely miserable to watch, and it has been, including today and the last few weeks. Now, City was maybe a tad better, but only because it's City, and that's when probably we accept it a bit more, I feel like, and we counter-attack better. How we counter-attack better against Man City than we do against Newcastle, that I don't know. But what Potter is doing at the moment isn't what Potter wants to do. And I think that's what a few people are slightly ignoring here. I think Potter...
What does he want to do? Because there's no early foundation.
He has the actual players for, because he barely has the players for anything at the moment with the injuries that we have. And he's just like, okay, let's be pragmatic. Let's try to get a result. What he wanted to do with today was not lose. Unfortunately, he lost anyway. Now, obviously, that's a problem. But unfortunately, that's how it went. To start with, he tried to do what he was trying to do. And then we saw certain things, but it also backfired in certain other ways, which is natural. And I think most people would probably agree at that point that that's natural when you're trying new things, that takes a little while to click and get going and stuff. I think we probably all agree with that. But what no one agrees, no one is happy with, is that what we're seeing the last few games doesn't look like anything. Doesn't look like we're trying to get better. Doesn't look like we're trying to improve our attack and play. I purely believe that this is just getting to the World Cup and after we go again. Now, I could be wrong on this, but that's what I hope. And that's why I think the way you say it's not going to get better after the World Cup, I disagree with that. I think it will get better. Number one, for players back from injury. Number two, for no World Cup looming. Number three, just for having had a bit of time, right? We will also have a January transfer window. Those acquisitions will hopefully help if we get the right acquisitions. Things will get better. But I understand that people find it miserable now. But I don't think you can just sit here and say Potter is tactically just shit. I think that we don't, like, if you haven't watched enough of Brighton and then only base this on what we've seen at Chelsea so far, I think that's jumping the gun. Like,
Lawrence, other than hope, why do you think it will get better? This is what I want to know.
Because we have no other option.
No,
we do. We could stay like this for the rest of the season.
Because I literally just explained it. Because we will have more time on the training pitch, then Potter can actually do what he wants to do. Which
we won't really, because all our so-called top or good players are going to the World Cup. So
yeah, they're all not going to be there forever.
Yeah. No, number one, a fair few are still staying, especially the ones that will then come back from injury and stuff. But you can't expect that everyone will just be at the World Cup until the final. Like, a lot of the players some players will go in the group stages, some players will go in the round of 16. So some players will be back for a few weeks, right?
Also, you can't really say like Potter's not doing what he wants to do, because no one really knows what he wants to do yet. He hasn't said or shown it. He's been very wishy-washy in his formations and everything. There's no.
But even
at Brighton, he was like that.
Thing, though, because he doesn't. For him, the formation isn't the most relevant thing. For him, it's about the way he wants to play. It doesn't matter on the formation, right?
Okay, Lampard wanted to play progressive football. So what?
Yeah,
Lampard wanted to play cross the ball.
But Lampard didn't get himself the credibility and the track record through the lower ranks to get himself to this position. Potter did.
But again, we're talking about Brighton translating to Chelsea. This is not some fair enough if he did it at like a top 4 club and then he came into Chelsea, but he hasn't. Yeah, they were 4th after a few games, but it's not a reason.
That's not Potter's fault, though, is it? So, he hasn't had the chance to prove it at a bigger club yet. He's not had the chance because we don't not because he's not good enough. At least not in my opinion.
But actually,
it's just you have to take a path. If you're not an ex-professional like Pep Guardiola is, even Jurgen Klopp, he was a Mainz player. That's how he got the Mainz manager job. If you're not a top player or even a good player, it's much more difficult to get into football. Jose Mourinho started as random assistant at Benfica, then he was translator at Barcelona, then he eventually got the job at Porto. It doesn't just happen from one day to another, right? So maybe fair enough. What you're saying is we got him too early. Okay, is what it is. But who else could you have gotten then? I agree with you. Could have stuck to Tuchel, could have done this, could have just sacked Tuchel at the beginning and at least given Potter the summer. That's all fine. That's all for fair criticism. But that's in the past now. We can't change that. So the only thing we can do is, okay, who has a better track record of what we're trying to do? Because you might not agree with what Boehly's trying to do, but Boehly will try to do this long-term success thing. Whether you like it or not,
he's going to need it.
He will. And if he gives it enough time, in my opinion, that will work. How well it will work and if it will always...
You mean if the fans give it enough time? You mean if the fans give it enough time? If they allow it to be enough time?
Well, I think that's where people who are major influencers have to come in and help with that because...
No. I'm talking about the match-going fans, mate. I ain't talking about Twitter and fucking Instagram accounts.
But you act like match-going fans aren't also on Twitter and doing all this stuff.
But I'm talking about, at least 20,000 hardheads who've been... here and just they have that even more. Okay, you want to call it spoiled? I'll go with sport mentality. Good luck to Boehly because he's gonna fucking need it if shit like this continues. I'm telling you now. I'll come back to this stream in a year and see if we're still the same. I'll see how much more toxic it's got because it's gonna get worse.
Potter better bloody not be here anymore, obviously.
But he will. He will, because he wants. They've given him a 5-year contract with 50 million.
Here, but we will not be this bad. I will stand by that. I could be wrong, but
okay. Instead, we might be where we were with Tuchel, where he's winning a game, drawing a game, winning a game, losing a game. Instead of lost, win.
You don't know. We could be winning every game. Who knows? Chances
then everyone will be fucking happy, won't they?
But start of the season, be top of the league by November, and then fall off again. Chances are we're probably going to go back to that because that's what we've been doing for the last 5 years, really. Right? We do that every year, and for some reason we're okay with that. Don't know why we're okay with that. I want to get to a place where we can actually compete long term. And I personally do not believe that the old way of doing it worked. Right? Is Potter the right guy? I don't fucking know, bro. But I can't fucking change it. Boehly has made this decision now. We're going to go with Potter. Let's see how it fucking goes. Let's not lose our minds before we have a definitive answer to whether it's going to be good enough or not. And I don't think the amount of time that has been had so far, with the amount of injuries that we've had, with the amount of games that we've had, and with the lack of training time that we've had, I don't think that this was enough time to see whether Potter is good enough or not. At some point, we will have had enough time, and then we can, if we then, whether it's you or me or all of us or none of us, think he's good enough, yes or no.
And when is
we
that?
Can have a judgment on that. But I personally think
your
it's too
judgment
soon
day?
To make a full judgment on that. That's what I'm saying.
When is your judgment day? When is your judgment moment?
In about a year, probably.
That is completely dependent.
Exactly, a year where we are with every fucking manager.
We don't know that in advance because if we
you just said it.
Main players injured, that whole process of until I can finally get a full judgment of it takes longer. If we get all players back fit,
you just said.
Hold on. I got it.
Then I would say by April.
I'll respond.
The latest.
I'll respond. So when I said a year, right? Within a year, I knew Tuchel wasn't going to make it here. I just never said it out loud. I knew it because he was not improving. He was declining. Sure, the results weren't as bad as they are now, but we didn't see improvement with any player. Not one. And you can't tell me Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, Pulisic, Havertz, or fucking all these players that we bought are just that shit. Because they're not. They weren't shit somewhere else. And when you look at Timo Werner, he goes back to the Bundesliga. Yeah, it's Timo Werner. It's the Bundesliga.
Havertz is as shit as you think.
I guarantee you when Havertz goes somewhere else, he'll be good. I guarantee you it.
Not
I guarantee you it. I
Not
guarantee you. Maybe not in the Premier League. And you know
This
what?
is where,
Maybe in the Premier
sorry,
League.
Clutch,
But
this is where I lose you because I think our recruitment has gone
You
completely.
say now he's just not good enough for the Prem, but Luis Enrique is or what?
Yeah, but the manager's more than just the manager's the mind behind the players, Lawrence.
Which you just don't know just as much as about Potter whether it will work or not. That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying the whole time.
How is he going? I don't understand how he's going to improve from aren't you when you hire a manager? Aren't you supposed? Isn't the 95% of the trend is you actually start off very well and you get a big bounce and everyone gets up? You don't ever start off like this, do you? Let's be honest.
But why though? Like we've discussed this before. Why? Because it was a different circumstance. To what managers usually get sacked in, and therefore new managers usually come in at. Because usually the way a new manager comes in is when you're absolutely down and out. And the results were bad, on the tour, but not completely horrific, right? So you would automatically not have a manager bounce. Also, when do you see managerial changes?
I was told we were going to have a managerial bounce because every one of these players wanted Tuchel out. Sorry, that's just what I got told. Sorry. By everyone on Twitter and stuff,
I'm sure you were told that. I don't know if I said that. I have no idea. I don't remember. Maybe I said it. Maybe not. But we're all smart in hindsight. And in hindsight, I sit there, I'm like, well, yeah, kind of obvious that we didn't really have a big manager bounce in that scenario, right? Because the players probably didn't lose enough faith in Tuchel yet to get this big manager bounce going, which is what a manager bounce usually relies upon, right? That's how a manager bounce gets created. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say a year. I would say by the time we get to March, April, we should have a better view of whether, at least for me personally, whether I think this can go somewhere. That's why I tweeted today in the first half. If second half of the season we still play like this, I'm giving him time. But if second half of the season we still do play like this, look like this, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But yeah, March, April, absolutely. I don't know why you're so shocked by this, because you need to give a manager that's, again, I'm only repeating this. God knows how many times I've said this on this channel. But it's not easy to go from pragmatic football to more attacking football. And obviously, I'm aware the game today, the game against City, the game against Arsenal, didn't exactly look like we're trying to play attacking football or trying to play progressive football. But that's still what Potter wants to do. Like, that's what he did at Brighton. That's what he tried to do at Swansea. And that's what he did at Östersund. Like, that's the way he plays football. Like, just because he's not doing that right now doesn't mean that's still not how he wants to play football in the end, right? So if we don't see any improvement towards that direction by the time we get to March, April, then it's ridiculous. But we still need to allow him the time to actually make that happen, because no matter who you are, people use the City comparison. City still didn't win anything in the first season, lost 4-0 to Everton, came third in the end. But that was on the back of already having managers before Pep that play somewhat along the lines of Pep. They even signed players for Pep before Pep was even there. They literally signed Kevin De Bruyne because Pep Guardiola told them sign De Bruyne 2 years before Pep Guardiola even joined Man City, right? You can't compare that to say if it takes us, we can only not win for a year by the same logic, by the standards, sure, but in terms of by the same trajectory. Also, where were City when Pep joined, and where are we now? Where the squad is, with the whole revamp of the club, new ownership, new everyone, those things affect things. Like Liverpool, how long did it take Klopp to become good? It didn't happen in 3 months. It didn't happen in a year. It took them for ages to actually become a serious team. It took them for ages, and Klopp is one of the best managers in the world. Most people will agree with that.
Lawrence, I agree, but this is not the club. I refuse, and this goes back to what I said to you on WhatsApp. I refuse to believe this is the club that this will be done at. Until I see it, you know what? Fair fucks. In 2 years, if he's still here, and the ownership have given him the time, they've given him the windows, and things improve, I'll be very, very happy to be wrong, because that means we've seen out a period that this.
Oh, your mic somehow unplugged. I'm just gonna continue. Hopefully. Oh, now you're back.
Yeah, I'll say, if he sees this out over the next 2 years or whatever, and he doesn't lose the fans, he doesn't lose the dressing room, and we progress slowly, that we've then gone through a period as a club which we never have done before. But I refuse. I can't believe anything else. How can I sit here and say, okay, that's going to happen? Because everything in Chelsea Football Club history has indicated that it hasn't happened, or we've tried to make it happen, and it just hasn't happened for one reason or another. It never ever happens, whether it's the fans, the players.
It's not happened yet because we haven't had the patience required, whether that's the ownership or the fans or the players.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. The fans don't have the patience. It will not happen. Something will happen where he goes.
I don't think that the ownership will give a shit whether the fans lose their shit or not.
But then it will just be toxic. There'll be complete uproar at games. Other things will happen then. Chelsea, like, there may be remember when fucking all the Chelsea fans, they didn't like Sarri. I think was it like a quarter or something of fans' season tickets they handed them back in the season before Lampard got employed because they didn't want Sarri to be here anymore. Things will happen where the ownership will go, oh shit, like, have we made you know what I mean? Like,
someone else will buy those season tickets.
I don't see it as that way. And even if they do, it's not
right. In an ideal world. Obviously, we could become good again sooner, like very soon, so we don't have to ever get to this point. 1,000,000%.
But then it will just be.
It depends on how, like, obviously, what you're saying, that whole toxicity thing. It depends on in what time we're talking about. Like, if the fans are losing their shit in January, I don't think Boehly will do anything. If we come 6th or 7th. By the end of the season, and the fans are being toxic, then this is a different discussion. And then in the summer, Boehly might pull the plug. If things are super bad and the team is not improving and the fans are losing their shit, then this is a different story. But like I said, to me, I think by the time we get to March, April, we will see improvements. And if we see improvements, the toxicity from the fans and the criticism of the fans also calms down. So therefore, then I don't think it will be a problem. I think.
Yeah, again, I agree, depending on some of the other stuff he does as well. Because I keep saying it's not just, sorry had reasons to stay here longer, but the fans didn't like him because he never clapped the fans. Sometimes, it comes down to shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a. It's so hard to succeed at Chelsea. I do feel sorry for him a little bit, but this is what it is. He took the job, and he knew. He said himself, like, you can be on top of the world here, and then in a crisis in 48 hours. So I don't know, man. Like,
it's aware. And
so then why not?
Like, you agree with this super chat here, right? The Potter has a weak mentality. Do you agree with that?
I've not met him personally, but from some of the stuff he's saying, I mean, mentality is I don't know what he said to them in the dressing room, but things like he looks just completely clueless and emotionless on the touchline. Like, he never, like, again, I go back to that whole thing, and Matt Law reported the players are liking it now because they don't get shouted at. You need to be fucking shouted at to win football games sometimes. Like, he needs to lose his shit. He needs to just do stuff that, as I said, the fans, when they look at the team playing shit, they then look to the manager for inspiration. When he's standing there crossing his arms, you know what I mean, and doing fucking stupid shit, then no one's going to believe in anything. Like, Lampard did that. That's a lot of the reason why the fans, I'm not going to say fans because these dumbass fans blindly blacked him anyway because he was a Chelsea legend, whatever. But fans on social media and stuff, like, that was one of the main criticisms because Lampard just stood there when we were clueless in games. Oh, I'll chuck a couple of subs on. We'll bring an attacker on. I'll stand here with my arms crossed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just I can't quite explain it, and I don't know if it is weak mentality, but there's just something not quite, like, it just doesn't seem like I don't know, like a Chelsea manager to me. Like, he doesn't seem to have that sort of, I don't know, like, oomph and kick in him when things are going wrong. It's like, I don't know. Even when, by the way, I of course got absolutely cooked for saying, even when we was winning, I got cooked for saying, well, this guy's fucking boring because he didn't look like we were caring when we was winning either. He didn't look happy. It was just like, oh yeah, we played some good football today. Good to get the win. Like, bro, like, I don't understand him, man. Like, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea.
I think that could be the exact thing that we need. Someone that doesn't lose his mind in both directions constantly. And I stand by that.
But he doesn't. He doesn't look happy when we're winning, and he doesn't look angry when we lose. So what is he? That's probably the best way I can explain it.
I think you're doing him a bit harsh in terms of that he's doing nothing on the sideline. I think you saw when it was all kicking off at the end, he was very much involved. Like, you see him, like, talking to players. You see him, like, giving instructions. You see him praising players when they do things well. Do you know what I mean? You saw him how when Hall missed that chance or Pulisic missed that chance against City, how, like, head in hands, like. is like, I think you're doing him a little bit harsh where you're just saying he just stands there with his arms crossed. Like, it still happens, and we've agreed on this before, that he still I would like it personally if he shows more of this. But if the football is right, I don't care that much. Like, it's nice if the manager acts exactly the way I would love my manager to act. But, if the football's all right, it doesn't matter if the success is there, if the way we play is there. So fine then. But I think we need to give that time. Now, again, we don't know, but we're in this situation now. We have this owner that wants this way of running the club. I mean, like, it's going to be that way, whether we like it or not. It's like, and even if he sacks Potter, is the next manager is going to appoint going to be Zidane? No. Is it going to be some huge name manager that has no track record of being somewhere long term? I don't think so, because that's what he wants to do. That's what he did at the Dodgers. You might not like it, but that's what he's going to do. It's just, it's what it is. It's what it is. Shall we get to these player ratings? Because, we've been here for an hour and we haven't even touched on the game in any detail. So there's a problem. I will also get to some of the super chats that I have missed so far. So basically, we lined up with Ruben at right wing back, Chalobah at central centre back, Aspie right centre back. But Ruben got injured 4 minutes into the game, and then Thiago Silva had to come on. Aspie play wing back. So that's what you see on screen now. Let me quickly highlight the first super chat from Richard and highlight that one, and then we can at least quickly touch on that one. I have a feeling some players feel untouchable because they start regardless of how they perform, and others see no point because they continuously get benched regardless of how they play. I agree with this to some extent, but it was no different before Potter came. Like, that was the exact same issue under Thomas Tuchel. That was the exact same issue under Frank Lampard. Like, that was I don't know. Is there any managers in the world that don't do this? Because at the moment, I feel like maybe they just all do that. Like, as soon as they start trusting certain players, they trust certain players, is what it is. But I do agree. It is a problem. And then when you have one of those players that has received those benefits, like Raheem Sterling, playing no matter how shit he is, and then he pulls out for a migraine, so much so that he can't even travel. I don't think Sterling was supposed to start anyway. So, like, I don't think. I could be wrong, obviously. He felt too ill from a migraine to travel. Are you taking the piss? I hope he's going to stay at home from Qatar because, migraine can't travel there. Do you know what I mean? I wonder. Do you know what I mean? Like, Cucurella was ill. He managed to travel. Why is it just Sterling? The one that can't do that. I don't know. It's weird, that one, isn't it? I've seen another one. Mendy has to use his feet a lot. Tactical flaw number one. I mean, yeah, to be fair, that is true. But he doesn't want to play Mendy anyway. He wants to play Kepa, doesn't he? But yeah. And Richard also said, I'm from the US. Yeah, we know. All I know is I saw Pulisic coming on at halftime and grabbed the bubble wrap. Well, fair enough. I understand. Shall we get into this? Shall we just start with Mendy? The funniest thing was very early in the game when Koulibaly then headed away at the far post. Mendy was flapping about his 6-yard box as if he'd like a prime impersonator of Kepa. If Kepa did that, the whole of Twitter would have lost their shit. Not a single soul other than myself mentioned it about Mendy. Not that I saw anyway. Funny that. But anyway, they also, if Kepa conceded the goal Willock scored today, by the way, they would have said Mendy saves that. Oh, he didn't. Unfortunate. But is any of what happened today Mendy's fault? No. So do we give him a lower rating? Clutch, I'll start with you. Do you just give him a 6 or do you give him below that?
I don't know what he did right, and I don't know what he did wrong, I guess. I mean, he was hustling to get back when he went up for that free kick.
Sure, he nearly fell over while running, but he tried.
I did see a lot of hustle in that, and it's more hustle than I've seen from 90% of the other players today to get back to do things. So.
It does help when this was the first time he obviously had to sprint all game long being a goalkeeper.
That is true. Just give him a 6 because I don't know what I'm going down for that because nobody's saving that goal. I'm sorry, that was just a well taken shot. So
yeah, exactly.
I think so. I can't really blame him for that. He did command the box decently well. His distribution kind of sucks, though, I guess. But, I mean, I don't expect him to have good distribution anyway. So, yeah, just give him a 6.
Fair dues. Pice, would you give him a 6 or would you go lower?
6. I'm really going to be quite short on these ratings because I don't know.
We already spent an hour on it. If anything,
looking at this team just makes me feel sick, bro. I fucking hate some of these players, man. Make me feel sick. 6.
Yeah. Fair. Let's get to. I mean, Ruben obviously doesn't get a rating. I'll just put him in an 8 and hope his injury isn't too serious, I guess. But when a player gets injured 4 minutes in, obviously we don't know the extent of it, but then you're always like, a muscle injury, obviously. I mean, Nizar can tell for some reason it looks like he rolled his ankle. It didn't look like that to me, but who knows? Shall we do Koulibaly first? Got himself booked again. This time at least he had to try that tackle, I guess. I'll start with you, Pice. What do you want to give Koulibaly?
I mean, people were cooking him for the goal, but I mean, I guess he got outpaced a little bit easy, and he was a bit sort of. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because I didn't think there was like necessarily that he didn't do that much wrong in my opinion. Like Almiron kind of had the play, had the momentum, did well, cut inside. Tried to tackle him but didn't. I mean, the strike was good. Like I didn't even if he beat him there, which he did, I didn't expect it to lead to a goal. So I was like. Not looking at Koulibaly as like, oh my god, you did so shit there, because I know a lot of people were saying that. I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, it's a weird one that because could and should he do better? Absolutely. Like he hadn't been booked by that point. He loves a yellow card anyway. He gets himself a yellow card every game. He could just pull him down. Like, do you know what I mean? But like you say, he didn't probably expect him to lead to a goal anyway, because like he was covering Almiron's way to goal. He knew he had Thiago Silva and Chalobah next to him. All of a sudden, Almiron accidentally takes a heavy touch. It falls to Willock. He smacks it first time and puts it in like an unbelievable strike. We are like, those are the goals that happen when things are just going against you. Like, do you know what I mean? When we're flying, no chance he scores that. There's no chance that happens. But could he have pushed him off more? Could he have been more physical? Could he have been more tighter? Absolutely. At the same time, the ball ended up somewhere like here where we look shot, right? Couldn't Jorginho have, can you even see my mouse? I don't even know. But anyway, like here, right, where Chalobah's thing is. One of the DMs should also be there. But obviously it was a long ball, so they need to have enough time to get there. That's a difficult one. So I do think he has to be criticised a little bit for the goal, just because he could do better. But I think people are going a little bit far with it at the same time. But I do also think Koulibaly has been one of those who have been disappointed by. Like, fair enough, takes a little bit of time to get used to the Premier League and everything, and obviously the managerial change, and then being injured for a little bit, and then being in and out of the side. All of those things don't help. But I still that's what you want to avoid a bit more, the more of an experienced player you sign. Because if you have those issues with an experienced player like Koulibaly, then at that point just sign a 22-year-old then. Do you know what I mean? Would Levi Cole have been worse this season than Koulibaly has been so far? I would argue not, but that's a debate for a different
Probably
day.
not, considering our 18-year-old centre mid player and left wing back was our best player, so I'd say no.
No, exactly my point. I'll give Koulibaly, because I don't think we were defensively so bad. How many real big chances did Newcastle have? 2? He cleared a lot away. A lot of dangerous crosses that Newcastle did put in were actually cleared by Koulibaly. So you know what? I'm still going to give him a 6. Because I think the defense were actually good, because we played the team that's third in the league at home, where they've not lost a game all season. And other than one outrageous goal, we were defensively good. So I'm going to give him a 6. People will probably hate me and say, "Oh, why are you going so high? How are you going to possibly do this?" Blah blah blah. But hey, here we are. But Pice, would you go much lower than that?
No, I'd go 6 as well. I think average. Made a couple of good headers. Yeah, there was one in the first half where they put a really good cross in, won the header. I think it was against Chris Wood or someone. But yeah, debatable about the goal, obviously, but I'd go 6. Yeah.
Fair. Clutch, what about you?
This is why you don't go off of stats. It said he didn't win a single header today, but
he definitely did.
No,
yeah, it says he won aerial duels 2-1-0.
Well, he definitely.
I think my biggest problem with, and I don't know if it's even a problem right now, I'm trying to decide, but there was way too many times he killed an attack by just bombing it forward and it not being accurate. And it just, like, you're asking Gallagher to go get the ball. That's who you're asking to go get the ball. Really? That's what we're doing. But you know what? At least we're trying some of those long distance passes that we don't usually do. So I can't really blame it. I'm going to go for a 6.
Fair enough. Let's do Chalobah. His passing is one thing. One thing I don't like about how Chalobah interprets this right centre back position, especially when the right wing back next to him isn't the real right wing back, whether that's Ruben, whether that's Gallagher for a little bit in today's game. He, to me, stays way too narrow, and that was always what Aspie was so good at when he played the part of the back three under Tuchel as well. But also under Antonio Conte originally. He was a super aggressive right centre back, a bit like what Cucurella often does on the left, but he doesn't always get it right yet, unfortunately. But didn't play today anyway. But for me, it's like, especially when you don't have a real defender at wing back, you need to help them a little bit. I know you're a bit scared that you're going to get caught out yourself, but you need to do that. So that I don't like that. I like the whole, like, whenever a cross came in off that side, I'm like, well, that wing back is trying to get us somewhat into attacking. So then you need to help them out. That's the whole point of playing a back three, not just for you to then expose them and let them do everything by themselves and we have three centre backs in the box. That's not the point where you play a back three. The point is to, like, you know, to shift around and always have enough defensive players in all positions. And that's what he didn't do that today. I'm personally giving him a 5. I'm probably not going to go lower than that, but I don't think it was great, personally. Clutch, what about you?
No, I mean, I got annoyed with some of the things Chalobah did today. Like, there was one time, I think this is when he switched over to right back. He intercepted the ball, and I don't know why he just didn't play it first time to Ziyech down the right-hand side, but he, like, waited, assessed his options, and then was like, I'm just going to pass it backwards. And I'm like, okay, why? Like, if you want to start an attack, counterattacking is what a lot of this team is set up for. Why do you slow down the attack? Why do we always slow down the attack by going backwards? Like, and I hate that. And he was one of the main contributors of it today, and it just really pissed me off.
Well, we did that because of Newcastle's press, and we didn't know what to do with it. That's why we did that.
Of course. I'm gonna go 5.5.
Okay. Price, what about you?
5. I agree with you, Laurenz.
Okay. First. Thiago Silva then. Are people going to call me crazy if I say 7? Because I think it was good. I didn't really see him do anything wrong. And I think we did, again, I cannot repeat myself. I think we actually defended well. Like someone said in the chat, how many saves did Mendy have to make? Barely any. I'll give him a 7. I don't want to go too much higher than that. Maybe on a game that we win for the same performance, I give him like an 8 potentially. But we also didn't win. But I'm not going to go too hard on it just because we didn't win. I still think he was individually pretty good. So I'll say 7. Pice?
6 for me. Thought it was okay. Nothing above average for me.
Okay. Clutch?
I thought he was good. I thought he was actually really good today. There was many times when he stepped up and read the situation. I mean, he's 38 years old. He's one of the smartest, intelligent footballers I've ever seen in my life. There was a time when if he didn't get it completely right, they would have been on the counter, but he got it right. And then, because I was like, am I crazy for saying this? Do I really think he was that good? I got to look at the stats. He had 5 clearances, 1 block shot, 3 interceptions, and a tackle. Like, 5 clearances is insane. Nobody else had even close to that. And he didn't even start the game. He had 83 minutes, but still. Like, Thiago Silva is like
83 minutes plus what, 8 minutes of injury time?
Well, it was 83 minutes total. That included injury time.
No. Because it came on after, 5 minutes? No. So that's already 85, and it has 7 minutes of extra time. So
okay, yeah, no 7.
I think they don't usually count the injury time to the minutes, usually.
Fair enough. But yeah, I thought he was really good, to be honest. I thought we're just lucky that he's probably the best center back in the Premier League, other than maybe Martinez right now, but...
Yeah, it's a weird one because obviously he did also make mistakes recently, so it's a tough one. So did you agree with the 7 or did you go with something different?
7.5.
Okay, then we will give him a 7 on screen as well. Otherwise, we'll have gone 6.5. I want to get a little bit of positive. Well, no, because we just had a 7, right? So still Aspie first. I don't even know how critical I want to be. Obviously, he was subbed off. I'm not sure. Apparently, got an ice pack. I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with him or why he was subbed off, but he was subbed off for Pulisic. And then Gallagher played wing back for a few minutes until we switched to a back 4. A few minutes after that, I don't even have an opinion on how Aspie played. If I'm honest, I don't even have an opinion because I feel like the way we play today and the way Newcastle played against us. Chalobah gave him the ball. Aspie has 2 options: either try a ridiculous pass somewhere forward that's probably not going to come off and we're going to lose the ball, or lay straight off to the centre mid to then usually pass it back to the centre back anyway, or Aspie passes it back to the centre back himself. That was kind of So I don't really know. I mean, Clutch, do you want to take this one first? I'm kind of on this one. I'm struggling. I'm not sure what I want to give him.
I don't know either because it's like I don't remember him doing a lot. And honestly, his biggest contribution is coming off because Pulisic was probably one of our better players today. So I don't know. I'm gonna go 6 because I don't know 6.
There you go. Pice, would you go as high as a 6? Would you go much lower than that? What did you think?
I mean, a lot of the defenders here are just probably going to get an average 6 rating. I'd probably agree. Maybe a 5.5 because he got absolutely skinned that time. But
yeah,
no, I'd probably.
I kind of want to go a little below average. I just don't know how much is my thing.
Yeah, maybe 5.5 then. I mean, one thing that did annoy me was his passing. Just kept passing back, man. It's so fucking annoying. But yeah,
it's a tough one because we see, and obviously, like all of us are like pass forward. But if you're there and you've got Newcastle players storming at you from all directions other than behind you, it's just what you do, I guess, unless you're as good and confident as someone like Reece James, and that's why we're missing him so badly, I guess. Like, does anyone expect Aspie to do anything different when pressed from all angles? I don't know if that's realistic, but I'm going to agree with you, 5.5, and we're going to give him that. Shout out Lewis Hall. Now, some people say, why did he start? I think absolutely warranted. I think he should keep starting even after the World Cup. Don't give a shit. Start the guy. Warranted. I don't care whether he's originally a centre mid. Reece James was originally a centre mid. He's not a centre mid now, is he? And no one loses their mind. Why is he not playing centre mid? But Reece James played his youth career as a centre mid. Even his first fucking FIFA card was a centre mid. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was a centre mid. Now he doesn't. So stop losing your mind about where Lewis Hall plays. He was fantastic. By far the best player we had. By a million miles. Well, not by a million miles because I'm not going to give him like a 9. But I still think he was the best player. The way he's confident. You know what I just said about Aspie? Aspie can't and won't do those things. Hall attacks, controls the ball with his chest, attacks it, pushes it past players, then releases it, plays through balls on the side to Mount, switches the play wonderfully. Absolutely phenomenal player. At 18 years old, yeah, did he get caught out in defensive positions a couple of times? Sure. But let's also not lie to ourselves. Does that not happen to Chilwell? Does that not happen to Cucurella? Does that not even sometimes happen to Reece James, especially when he was younger, in the last 2 years? Let's not be too harsh because an 18-year-old got caught out positionally or defensively on 1 or 2 occasions. It happens. I'm going to give him an 8. I'm not going to go higher than that, but I'm going to give it an 8. Very happy with him. I feel unfortunate for him that he's got these situations now with 2 losses, because I think had we won either of those 2 games, especially today, I think a lot of praise would have come to him. I also personally do not comprehend, unless he was maybe tired because obviously he's used to youth football and he played Wednesday against City and he played again today. So maybe he was a bit too tired to continue. Fair enough then. But if it's purely to change things and to bring a more experienced Cucurella on, should have just left Hall on. I can't lie. But yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. Pice, what are you going to give him? Are you going to go as high as that or a little bit lower?
I'd probably give him a 7, which is probably going to be my highest rating. I think he was good. You could see a little bit of inexperience there. He lost the ball a few times. But again, I think a lot of praise has to be given to him because I think, 18 years old, he's playing in a position he doesn't, it's not his regular position anyway. So, yeah, I have to give a lot of praise to him. And it doesn't, I think the biggest compliment you could give him is he just doesn't really look out of place compared to Cucurella or Chilwell. You can see he's very technically secure. He did a really nice switch of play with his right foot across the whole pitch. But yeah, there was times where, I think a bit of inexperience, did pass the ball straight to a few Newcastle players sometimes, lost the ball under pressure. But I think overall he did decent. I'd give him a 7, as I said, highest rating today. So it's actually very, very good that I'm actually giving someone a 7 in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, fair play. Clutch then, a 7 and an 8. So we currently sit at a 7.5. What would you give Lewis Hall?
Probably going to be in the middle, a 7.5.
You just have to be awkward, don't you, Clutch?
I'm trying. I'm working on it. I thought he took good corners too. I thought he took some very good corners, actually.
Mate, I know it wasn't
the
best joke of all time, but he got so much curl on one of these corners. I know he overhits and it went out anyway. But my God, I was more curls than I've seen at David Luiz's head. It's crazy. I know Ziyech can do that, but Ziyech does it. Ziyech pisses me off so much, by the way. The guy can do one thing, and he's so inconsistent at that one thing anyway. If you're only good at one thing, at least be consistent with it. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I shouldn't, we'll talk about Ziyech later. Fair enough. 7.5. Anything else you wanted to add on that, Clutch? Sorry.
No, you guys said everything I needed to say. So.
Fair dues. Let's get to Jorginho. On this one, Clutch, I'll actually give you the floor first and foremost because I don't know again. Because did we have enough control for my personal liking? No. But was that even our aim today? Probably also no, if we're being honest. He played one good ball. I remember you put it in the chat, that good ball, Jorginho. I think when we had one half attack, I mean, we didn't have that many, did we? But I don't know. You go, Clutch.
Tough one. I didn't see as many progressive passes as I would like from him. It's back to the same old sideways passing, Jorginho. Do I give him a little bit of credit because he did just come off a slight injury? Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm going to give him... Was he worse than Aspie? Worse, better. 6. He was better than Aspie.
Okay.
Not great, but...
No, fair. Pice, what about you?
I don't know, because like I think Jorginho is very clever in terms of at least early on he was winning a load of fouls, but he knew he's almost like when you think he's going to lose the ball, he wins the fouls. But I think that didn't really help the pace of the game as well. You know, we couldn't really get up the pitch, and obviously he got that stupid yellow card, which you know is typical.
Was it a stupid yellow card, or did he have to take it for a tactical foul?
Well, yeah, but that's why it's a stupid yellow card, because he always gets beat in the middle of the pitch by anyone who's got legs. So. Yeah, I mean, it's just I'd probably give him like a 5.5 or a 5, to be honest. I'm gonna go 5. I'm
gonna switch mine to a 5.5.
I don't think he was very good, to be honest. Neither was Kovacic either. I don't think the midfield was good at all today.
It's weird because my initial instinct wouldn't be to give Jorginho like a 4, but that would almost be blaming all of our problems that we had today on Mount, Gallagher, and Broja, and I think that's harsh as well. Like them three weren't, in my opinion, at least, weren't necessarily the problem today because we didn't get the ball into it. Like Mount and Gallagher received the ball not in forward areas as they are lined up here. Mount and Gallagher received the ball basically at the halfway line and then had like 60 yards to cover to the opposition's goal. So maybe we should be much harsher on the Kovacic's, even the Aspies, the Jorginhos. So. Do you know what I mean?
I actually agree with that because I'm sitting here thinking about like how do I want to do Kovacic? Was Jorginho much better than Kovacic? No, not even close. So, and I thought Kovacic actually had one of his really bad games today, if I'm being honest with you. And I hate to say it because I love Kovacic. You can kind of see it in the chat a little bit. Everybody's like, "Oh, we need to get Kovacic out of this club now," and you're like, "Whoa!" Like he's had 2 bad games.
Which chat was that?
It's on this chat. As soon as you get to him, I guarantee you it'll come up again. Don't worry about it. It will be back. But I've seen it so many times that I'm like, wait a minute, how are we doing that about Kovacic right now? Like he's hurt. He's playing hurt. He basically has to play every game with a fucking new ass knee every game. So like, what do you want from the guy? Of course he's gonna have bad moments.
Because I think I'm going to lower my rating for Aspie. I gave him a 5.5. I'm going to lower my rating to a 4.5. We sit on a 5 overall. I'm going to give Jorginho a 4.5 as well.
Actually,
go on.
I'm switching my Jorginho to a 5. He wasn't great. Sorry.
Bill gives him a 5 because you boys both gave him a 5, which is fair. And then Mateo Kovacic, I will give 0.5 less and I will give him a 4. I think to go lower than a 4, I don't think he was bad enough for that. But I'll give him a 4. But like I said, I would have still given Jorginho a 4.5. Price, Kovacic, now that you gave Jorginho a 5, I think?
Probably a 4.5, just because he messed up more passes, I think, going forward. Yeah, I mean, Jorginho and Kovacic, we've known this for ages, how sometimes they can get just the midfield's too open. That's been the criticism since they've played under Lampard, to be honest. So, as a pivot, yeah, it does happen. I think Kovacic was quite poor today with tracking his runners defensively. Yeah, again, I don't know why he started against Man City and then had to start this game, but whatever. Yeah, 4.5.
Wait, did he start against City?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did. Of course he did. Yeah, fair enough. 4.5 from you. 4 from me. Clutch. What you're going to give Kovacic?
On the basis that like there's a couple of attacks he messed up that if he just had a better pass, like an actual Kovacic normal pass, I think we would have had more opportunities.
Maybe a goal. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe a goal.
I think it wasn't his day, and I'm not in the Kovacic out like I know a lot of people I've seen in the chat. And yes, if you scroll up enough, you will see it. I have seen it, and I've waited to call it out.
We believe you, bro. We believe you.
But no, I think it's the product of he's playing a lot and he's playing through injury, and it's kind of sad because I'm like, I watched some of the passes today, and I'm like, what is going on? This is not the normal guy. So 4.5.
Okay, 4.5 he shall have. Let's get to the front three then. I'll start with Mount. Now, he looked off it. Did he look off it because he's not trying because of the World Cup? Is he not trying because he's fed up? Is he because he's overplayed? Probably a combination of all three, if we're being honest. But I put it in our group chat. It's like, can someone tell Mount that we're playing a game of football here? Now, towards the end of especially the first half, him and Lewis Hall were doing a few decent things on the left side. But I still think in general, do I think he was any better than Kovacic? No, I'm also going to give him a 4. Am I being too nice on that price? What do you think?
Mount, I mean, apparently he's got 0 goal contributions in the last 8 Premier League games, which is, not being... Yeah, that's fucking
obviously,
shit.
we'll get a little bit less naturally because he's playing in midfield more now than just in the front three all the time. So it will naturally decrease a little bit, but that's still too much.
Yeah, he's not playing at the level we need him to. I'd go. I see what you said in terms of like we didn't really have loads of attacks for him to actually.
We didn't even give the attackers the ball most of the time.
Yeah, it's hard, but I don't know. Then I come back. You need to take a little bit more authority. So I guess, 4. I guess, and that's one of the reasons why I liked Pulisic's performance so much because he actually just wanted to get on the ball and run at players. It's like, it's
Mount. Yeah, I mean, he just thinks that there was a nice switch ball that he had. Where I'm like, because Koulibaly, whenever he switches the ball, he punts it 50 yards in the air and then it falls down the other side. I'm like, bro, that's pointless. That ball takes so long in the air. The other team's just going to shift across by the time the ball gets there. But the way Mount switched it and the way Hall switched it, they switch it hard and low. And then the opponent doesn't have time to switch. Maybe that's a Serie A Premier League difference. I don't know. But, so there was silly, small little things. So I'm like, yeah, okay, he still does, he's still not a bad footballer. But there's not enough, especially because we learned to see, or not expect, but we saw Mount under Lampard when everything was falling apart. He was the only one trying to keep it together almost, or at least the only, like a bit like Willian in that Jose season. He was the only one doing anything. Well, Chelsea all the way, it's okay if you can't stand me. The part I don't understand is why you're still here. Like, if you don't like me, go away. Like, no one's forcing you to watch it. All the other people that can stand me, please stay there and subscribe and smash the like button. But if you really dislike me, just go away. I'm not like, it's okay, bro. Like, I'm not going to cry myself to sleep over it. Maybe you are now that you know I'm not, but that's a different discussion. But Pi, sorry, I completely cut you off, didn't I? My bad. Go on.
No, I mean, I can't really decide. I think a 4 is okay. I mean, it's still a shit rating. So, yeah, I do agree with you.
Like, I'm not gonna. We could go one full rating lower on all of them, if we're honest. Like, Mendy could have a 5,
Yeah.
Silva could have a 6, Koulibaly could have a 5. Maybe Chalobah 4 would be a bit harsh, but still, we could have a 4.5 or whatever. Aspie could have a 4, Jorginho could have a 4, Kovacic could have a 3.5. Like, it would all be fair, but that's.
I'll give Mount a 3 because I think standards expectations now didn't do enough. But some people still treat this guy like he's some newborn kid or something. Like, fucking hell, he's been he's how many seasons he played there now? He's played quite a few seasons, So
this is his 4th.
Yes, it's crazy, bro.
Yep, there you go.
Just start taking a bit more responsibility.
So it's like 3 and a bit, but yeah, no, it's true, absolutely. Clutch, a 3 and a 4. What you're going to give Mason?
A 3. And here's why, right? I know I'm a little bit more harsh on Mason Mount than I am on the other players, I guess, but it's been a while since I've seen a good Mason Mount. Even the game where he scored 2 goals. I'm sorry, he just wasn't good. He had in those goals probably shouldn't have been goals. Let's be honest.
He was good against Milan. I know he only played the first half, but that first half he was good.
Sure. Okay. That's how long ago? 2, 3 weeks?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying.
Like,
I was watching the game and I was like, man's playing well that day. And I agree, that was the last time.
It's fair enough. And it's like, at some point, and maybe I need to blame Potter for this more than I need to blame Mount for this, but at some point, there needs to be responsibility taken. The guy should not be playing. He's not in good form. He's hurting us more than he's helping us. He's not doing anything right. He had one good moment where he kicked it over his head, juggled a little bit, and got out of trouble. It's like the only thing I was like, okay, Mason Mount, okay, fair enough. But I don't know who to blame more for this, Potter or him, because
Clutch loves a skill move, I think.
I do love a good skill move. I love a good dribbler. That's
to be fair, do you see Mount a couple of games ago when he did that in the air Cruyff turn? That was pretty good.
Yeah, he does it well. He just doesn't do it enough.
No,
and I don't. And like I said earlier in the group chat, like when Pius was talking about like skill-based players, and he used Mount every once in a while, I'm like, like he has it, he can do it, he just doesn't do it enough. And when he usually tries to do it, it's just like, no, I'm sorry, but I'd give him a 3. I'm just
okay. Fair enough. Leaves him at a 3.5, but we move on to Conor Gallagher on the other side. Obviously, I had to switch to wing back for a while. I was like, it's genius. Obviously, when I say it's genius, it's highly exaggerating. But I have been thinking for a few weeks where I'm like, if we're so badly struggling for anyone to put a wing back, surely Gallagher's attributes arguably suit it way more than Ruben's attributes, because he's quicker, he's more of a workhorse than Ruben is, and you need your wing back to be a bit of a workhorse, and he's better at crossing than Ruben is. So doesn't that make more sense than Ruben? Could we constantly play at wing back? That was where my thinking was, rather than being, Gallagher is amazing at wing back. But I think he arguably, like, stylistically suits the position better than Ruben does, in my opinion. But did he have a good game? No. Would I say he was worse than Mount? Tough one. They were pretty similar. I saw Gallagher try harder, and he had that one. No, to be fair, I do forget. He had that shot, and someone in the chat said we had our first good chance in 80th minute. That's not true. Just before we conceded, Gallagher had that shot, which was a really good save from Pope. And on another day, that goes in, we're 1-0 up, we win the game. But because of how our momentum is at the moment, it was never going to happen, was it, if we're being honest with ourselves? I'm going to give Gallagher, I gave Mount a 4. I'll give Gallagher a 5. For that effort. I think he had put more effort in Mount, and he obviously, had the best chance of the game for us. Maybe late on we had another one that I'm forgetting about now, but while the game was still realistically open, I think that. Clutch, I'll go with you before Pice. What do you think?
Oh, you said you're going to me before Pius?
Yeah, so I'm going to you before Pice. So.
Okay, no, I'd give him a 4. He's probably a full point above Mason Mount. I kind of like, the thing is, and I said this in the group chat, I was like, why are these two players who are almost similar in what they do, just Mason Mount probably a lot better at it than Gallagher is, why are they playing together? Like, what are these two supposed to give us? If we're not pressing and we're not trying to press, why are these two playing together? There's no creativity. But I think at least the best passage of play we had was when Gallagher did take that shot. So I'd give him probably a 4.
Fair dues. Pice, what about you?
I think it was pretty much, I was going to say the worst player on the pitch, but I think he was one of them. I'm going to go with a 3. I think he was shocking on the ball. Felt a bit sorry for him playing right wing back, but again, is what it is.
But he had that chance. Like, surely he did more than Matt.
Yeah, but no, I think overall, they were as bad as each other. I also think it was a bit of a camera save looking back at it. I didn't get that much.
I do see what you're saying. I feel like that is Pope being as tall as he is does help that, but I still see what you're saying.
Yeah, it wasn't like a. Remember the one Pulisic had at home against Wolves? Like, that was a proper top corner save and a great shot. This one was a bit of a sort of,
it wasn't as good as that. No, absolutely.
No,
I agree.
I'm going to go over 3, to be honest. I don't think it was good at all. Would have much preferred pretty much anyone else to play in that position, to be honest. Don't think they could have been any worse than him, even Ziyech.
What I don't understand about, like, the way we set up, right? Why didn't we play a midfield 3? Like, I don't get it. Like, just play like this and then play someone other than Mount, because he shouldn't be playing this many games anyway. just play this. And I think we would have been much better because we didn't get the ball to the front three anyway. So then we would have had at least a little bit more control in midfield, which probably would have found it a bit easier to pass ourselves out. I don't understand. But hey, we did what we did. But fair enough. You went for a 3. Overall, we sit to the 4, just because I went quite a bit higher than I did for Matt. Well, I went 1 higher. But anyway, let's get to Armando Broja. That's a difficult one. Because I tweeted during the game that I love Armando Broja, and I do. And he's very raw. He's very... he needs to work on his touch a little bit. He needs to work on his decision-making a little bit. He needs to work on when and where to use his power, his strength, when to pass, when to shoot. So there's still raw things that need to be refined, absolutely. But especially there was one occasion very early in the game, he was dropping back to receive the ball, hold it up, and he was kind of pressured on by both sides, by 2 players at the same time, basically sandwiched. And he basically just pushed them away, ran through and had the ball anyway. I was like, excuse yourself. How have you even done that? And I know this is only one minuscule moment in an overall pretty poor game. There was moments where you ruined attacks, where I'm just release the ball, bro. But yeah, I still think that I hope Potter can get it out of him. I don't know if he will. I hope it will be at Chelsea. I don't know if it will. But I still think there's a very good player in Armando Broja. Not a very good player in terms of that he's going to be the most technically gifted player. He's not going to be the best technical, he's not going to be Harry Kane, perfect shot, perfect pass, perfect touch. That's never going to be Broja. But the way he combines power and pace with just aggression as well, which I think we lack sometimes, and having a bit of aggression up top, I think that we benefited so massively of that with Diego Costa, because Diego Costa didn't have the best touch. We did not have the best decision-making of passing all the time. He was just so aggressive. And then in front of goal, he was a monster. Obviously, we don't really get Broja in those situations very often, unfortunately. But I think Broja was struggling today because if we're honest, the formation was kind of this. So it was kind of like this, and then Broja all the way on his own by himself, up there by himself. He was having to head at Dan Burn and Fabian Schär, and he was just trying to run off the balls, winning headers. That's all he was trying to do. So it was a miserable. It's just what's the terminology? On a day where you can try no matter how
hopeless
hard you try.
task.
Sorry?
It was a hopeless task for him today.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was a hopeless task. It was was he ever going to succeed with the way the rest of the game was going? I don't know. But there was a couple of occasions where Sterling could have done better. And maybe I'm just being nice because I like him, but I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt where I'm what else could he have done? Would any other, would Lukaku, would Costa, would Drogba, in a game like this, would they have done any better? I'm not sure. The way we play, sure, if we had Costa, if we had Drogba, we probably wouldn't play the way we play because we're we have this wonder striker who just scores us all the goals anyway. So just give him the ball and we'd probably be better. But had the game in general be the same, I don't think they could have done more. So I'm going to give him a 5, but maybe I'm being way too nice here. Clutch, what about you?
I was thinking a 5 too. At one point, he looked like the only one who was actually trying to take a player on. He was the only one trying to actually do anything out there. And unfortunately, the plan was punt it long, hope he wins a header, or hope he runs past the defender and gets an open goal. That just seemed like the plan today. And I don't know why, but it was what it was. So he also, at one point, I think he received the ball at the top of our box, made a nice little dribble around the player, and I think he got fouled for it. So
yeah,
to me, I think he was the only player in the front three that actually kind of tried a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. Price, what about you? 2 5s? What do you think?
I was going to go 6, to be honest. I don't think he was below average. And I think taking all that context in, I think he probably deserves a 6. I mean, there's nothing really else he could do. He had one shot. I'm not going to judge him on one shot, especially when he was turning and shooting it.
Weak foot as well.
Hopeless task. As I said, no striker is going to succeed here with what consistently. We just do things different every single game. We don't have that elite creator. We don't have a De Bruyne. We don't have someone that, very rarely someone might pull a pass out and play a nice through ball, which will give him a one-on-one chance. But it's difficult. It's difficult, especially with the injuries we've got. Reece James is probably our best bloody creator. We had nothing going from the wide, the wings today. So yeah, I mean, I'd go 6. I don't think
you've convinced me. Actually, I will agree. Clutch, do you want to adjust your rating as well, or will you stick to the 5?
Yeah, go ahead and give him the 6.
Fair enough. Yeah, because I agree. Now, we obviously made some subs. Did any of these subs, other than obviously Thiago Silva, obviously Pulisic? Yeah, Pulisic came on for Aspie. The other 3 subs, they're just going to be like NAs. But he deserves one, I guess, for the time. Shall I change it into the back 4 that we played for a little while? Then it was Koulibaly over there. Or was it Silva on the right? I feel like Silva was on the left side at the end. But I could be wrong. Doesn't really matter, does it? Which way around the centre backs were. Hall, left back, Chalobah, right back. And then, was it one of those? Was it a 4-3-3? I think that's what it was. I think it was kind of those because Gallagher still dropped here to help like on the side. Off the ball, which is shifted right into a 5 again. But I think that's what we did for a little while. And Christian Pulisic, now I tweeted this as I saw him like come on basically at halftime. I tweeted this because, and I will also take back what I said yesterday because I said yesterday, don't play Christian Pulisic in this game because if there's anyone who I'm most sure about that will not try hard enough because being concerned about injuries at before the World Cup and stuff, I said it's going to be Pulisic because, but not necessarily as a negative to him, almost understanding of it because I know how much pressure he's under from the US national team. He's captain of the team. He's they call him the LeBron James of soccer. You know what pressure that puts on you? Like at Chelsea, you and me, Clutch, have disagreed on this many times. So I'm like, yeah, he has that pressure, but not at Chelsea. But for this World Cup, the man has unbelievable pressure that very few people outside of like a Neymar at the Brazil World Cup can relate to, I think, honestly. And I tweeted, like, he can change my mind on him, like how I view him today a little bit. Because I don't think he will try. And it wasn't perfect. And there was a moment where he dribbled past and he was it with Trippier in the box. He could have maybe, if he didn't like the ball, didn't just fall, like he didn't kind of forgot the ball behind him, didn't drag it with him quick enough. Could have done a bit more in that situation, yeah. But he tried. And yeah, I know people sometimes say trying isn't everything. You need to also be good and stuff. But he also had positive ability things, you know. As a sub, I'm going to give him a 7 today. And also I want to give him the credit because, like I said, I had clearly a wrong opinion of that. He wasn't going to try, and he tried. Also at the end, when Newcastle they lost it. I don't understand. Like you're 1-0 up, you're 3rd in the league, catching City somehow because City lost to fucking Brentford, and they lost their minds. Like they was honestly, they could have had, in my opinion, they could have had 3 men sent off in the last 5 minutes. That tackle on Kovacic was ridiculous. One tackle on Pulisic was never a red card, obviously, but it was a rough tackle. The tackle on Gallagher, Chalobah got Keita. I mean, I guess Keita didn't get sent off for it either on Chalobah, I suppose. Well, they both should have been you can I've seen people send off for that. What Burn, I think it was, did on Gallagher, and Pulisic didn't hold back one bit. And again, that doesn't buy us any points, not at all. But I'm just speaking from, I didn't expect that from him, so I want to, if I can be harsh and criticize on some days, even if it's not performance-based things, I do want to praise it when I have to or when I can. So I will give him that praise. I thought he did well. It's just unfortunate because I see him come on, then he plays like this, and then I want him to start. Obviously, now we don't have a game for 6 weeks, but then I want him to start, and I want him to be involved, and then he does start. Other than the Wolves game, though, then I'm like, yeah, but you are not bad, but you're not doing enough. But then you come on and you play like today. Why didn't you play like today when you start games? I know you don't get to start enough games anyway, and we all agree that you should be starting more. We all think that. But when you do, you don't always play like this. Why not, bro? I don't get that. But hey, Clutch, I'll leave you last for this one, because he's your boy. So I'll go with you first, Pies. Number 1, do you think my 7 is nice? And number 2, maybe you didn't even see this like that before the game anyway. Obviously 7 with a star, mind you, it's a sub rating. He only came on when the game was basically done already anyway, so it's not exactly his fault. But yeah, do you think I'm too nice with the 7? If Broja gets to 6, I think Pulisic warrants a 7.
Yeah, definitely. I think he gets a 7. Just someone that I wanted to, the profile of player that you just want to start. You look at that front three and you think there's no dribblers there. There's no real sort of pace, authority, someone to pick up the ball and run and cause problems and win fouls. So you really wanted Pulisic to kind of start, because I thought he was okay against Man City. Obviously, he missed a couple of chances, but he created chances. I think I've read a stat within 5 minutes coming on the pitch, he did more dribbles than anyone on the whole pitch. Yeah, it was 3 out of 3 or something in 5 or 6 minutes. you know, like this is the type of play you want on the
It
pitch.
shows that we play the wrong players, honestly.
Yep.
And that we have the wrong players as well, because we only have 2 of them. And Sterling is in shocking form and pretending to be ill, right? So
yeah, I'd go 7.
Okay. Clutch, would you go as high as that, or would you be actually harsh on your boy?
His father's in the chat. I'm going to go for a 10. I don't want him to stab me
What,
because
his
I actually live in a
father's in
bit.
the chat?
No, there's somebody named Mark Pulisic in the chat.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that before, actually. I was like, surely that's not the real one. I assume it's not the real one. If you are, hello, send me a signed shirt, please. Cheers. Thank you.
But no, honestly, you can tell the difference when he came on, right? It just, we looked to try to be more direct. He changed the flow of the game a lot. Like, he was actually picking up the ball in spots, trying to dribble at players. And I know a lot of people in the chat, and this is where that spoiled mentality comes in, but he did nothing. Well, what the hell did anybody else do? Nothing. You guys go too far off of like actual results. Like, oh yeah, somebody didn't score goal. They fucking suck. That's not how life works. I'm sorry. In a game like this, when there's players who actually clearly don't give a shit and aren't doing anything, and then you have a player who actually is trying, who probably actually it's more admirable because the guy gets injured all the time and his dream is to play in a World Cup. And guess what? It was 45 minutes of him trying, actually. And he could have got injured at any point, but he actually tried. Crazy. Yep. So, yeah, no, 7.
Fair dues. We're giving the 7. I quickly want to touch on Kai Havertz. A lot of people are always very, very critical of good old Kai. People say he's a pushover. He's not fighting him. I've always disagreed with that, and I want to disagree with it again today. He was one of the only few that did show proper fight, especially at the very end. So big ups for that. But obviously, and I actually thought Kai did good when he came on. Like, we finally had a bit of link up where I'm like, okay, certainly Broja needs to improve things. Fantasy PJ Dua says ratings are too high generally today. Certainly a case to be made for that. Should all of them be potentially 1 lower? Maybe. Well, except maybe Mount and Gallagher. I think if they were 1 lower, that'd be a bit harsh. Also Kovacic. But they could all be a bit lower, absolutely. But hey, at the end of the day, we're not here to always be absolutely perfect. See, City has said that a few times. Havertz, that header. I don't even know what header you're talking about. So I have no idea whether you're taking a piss out of a header or whether I don't know what. I have no idea what header you're talking about. But anyway, 2-3 lower. It's a bit harsh. That would give Mount a 1.5. Well, I guess maybe that would be fair. But on Gallagher, it would be harsh. 2-3 lower. Imagine I had a 1. But yeah, I mean, do any of you want to say anything? Oh yeah, I want to say one thing because we get to Potter now, obviously, and I guess it correlates with this anyway. The fact that Ziyech keeps, like, against City, you know, but in this scenario, the way it was, why not give Hutchinson a chance? Like, look at how Howe took the chance. Should he give Hutchinson a chance? Like, why Ziyech? The guy's a one-trick pony that doesn't want to be here. Why does he get even any minutes? And not because I'm not saying this because he's so bad. I'm just saying because we all know he doesn't want to be here. So why even give him minutes? Like, even if we clearly lost anyway. Did Potter seriously think Ziyech was gonna be the one that changes that? I don't think so. If he does, that's more of a problem than I initially thought. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, just bring Hutchinson on, man. I pissed me off in the last game. They didn't use him. Pissed me off again today. I'm not a fan of that. Like, come on, not Ziyech. If he doesn't want to be there, man, just it's like Lukaku. Just get rid. Is what it is. But hey, we got to Graham Potter. What I didn't ask you today, boys, because we obviously spent an hour chatting basically before we go into anything else. What did you make of the team initially? Like, was there just what did you make of it? Because there was a bit of leaving players out in terms of but did he leave anyone out? Like Cucurella was apparently a bit ill. Sterling was so ill that he couldn't travel. And so the only one that was really just left out as such were Havertz, Aubameyang, and Silva. And Silva essentially rested, right? So other than that, it was kind of that's what we got at the moment, which is the depressing part, which is why I'm not as harsh on Potter as some of you, because I'm like, and Pulisic, of course, but, unfortunately, he doesn't get to start games, so I don't even expect this these days anymore. But, Pice, I'll start with you. Rating for Potter, thoughts on the team when he came out or when we saw what it was?
Pulisic should have started. I think Aubameyang should have started, or at least played both of them if you're going to start Broja. Mount, don't like him in the front three. Maybe should have been in midfield if he was going to play. Gallagher shouldn't have started in such a big game. Midfield was okay on paper, but I don't know if I would have played a 3-4-3. Probably would have done what you said. Put 3 people in midfield, 3-5-2 or something. I think who else played? Again, I think Koulibaly, I prefer him as second centre back, but whatever.
Do you say
Other
second
than
or
that,
central?
second centre back, so like central. That's what I mean, like second.
Because I was
Yeah,
like, second?
central.
Why second? We're playing 3. But
Yeah,
okay.
no, yeah. So yeah, there was definitely a few things. In terms of the way we played, absolutely shocking. Subs, I didn't agree with either. Don't think Havertz should have come on. Ziyech again, I think Hutchinson, give him a chance. Ziyech leaving in January, what's the point of bringing him on? Why has he all of a sudden started using him now? I don't understand. It's a bit of a weird one. And again, I think putting Gallagher right wing back, then changing it after 5 minutes or 10 minutes because it didn't work.
And then we conceded
formation,
straight after changing it as well.
It's just, yeah. I'm trying to think what to give him a point for, to be honest. No, I'm genuine. I'm serious.
You know?
Yeah, I guess because we didn't get smashed. 1.
Fair play. Clutch, what about you? What would you give him?
I think Fantasy PGA Tour kind of put it the best. We set up for a draw in a game we had to win. So to me, that's a very big red flag in my head. Did I ever see Pulisic starting today? No, because he played the 90 again in the midweek, so I didn't see him starting. Why Sterling didn't come? Why I don't know, but I can blame that on Graham Potter. No. Just there's a lot of issues. Like I'm gonna give him a 0, and the reason I'm gonna give him a 0 is because once again, and I'm fair across the board, and I said this about Tuchel, I start to get worried when they don't learn from the past mistakes. He's not getting it right from the beginning, and that's a problem. That's a major, major problem. And it's been like 7 games in a row he's not got it right from the beginning. So he's going to get a 0 for me for that.
Fair. Because on the one, like, I'm not sure if you guys agree with this, but because of their bad run, obviously, not losing today would have not been bad for Potter, like for Potter himself, for the team. Like, even if obviously we all wanted to win and it was a must-win game in terms of league position, but in terms of vibe and just, you know, calming the situation down a bit, a draw would have been like something, you know. Maybe not straight after the game, but like a day after that. Okay, at Newcastle, we always struggle there anyway. They're currently really good. We're currently really bad. A draw is maybe not too bad. But I do agree, actually, because this is the one thing where I'm like, we are Chelsea. We go into games to win. Hey, it doesn't always work. We all know that. It doesn't always work, and it doesn't necessarily mean everyone's now god-awful forever. But you need to go into it trying. And I agree that today he went into it like a lot of teams go into it against us. Like, make sure you try to keep a clean sheet, and if you can get a goal, great. If not, you take a draw. But that didn't work today. Now, obviously, he tried to change at the end and went for more attacking at the end with that 4-3-3 and changed it and stuff. But then, obviously, then you do make a tactical change. You create a chance yourself, but a minute after that, concede. And then, but on the back of that one goal you conceded, lose is a stinker. Now, who would have thought, Pies, going into this stream at the very beginning, that I would give Potter no rain than you would? Who would have thought that? But yeah, no, I agree. You as a Chelsea manager, I don't care how rough the situation is, you go into every game with the main aim to win. And he will probably say that was the aim, but I personally didn't see that. I mean, you criticized it. Mount and Gallagher behind Broja as a front 3 in a game where either we need to dominate, and we didn't, or we need to counter-attack. These two suit neither. When we dominate, them two shouldn't be in the front 3. And when we counter-attack, them two shouldn't be in the front 3. So you know, that's me. Pice, do you want to lower your rating or are you sticking to your 1?
I'll stick to the 1 because we didn't get smashed. But
yeah, I do hear that too.
I think the worst thing.
I'd rather get smashed and try to win than not get smashed because we didn't try to win.
Just can't believe we're actually at the point of playing fucking centre mid in the front three. Oh my god, so damn bad.
I like how Chelsea all the way says clutch giving Potter a 0, but trusting the process. I mean, that literally just shows that you have literally no idea what nuance in life is, and life will be very difficult for you.
Absolutely, because again, I am not saying that we need to forever, and we need to, because Pies always says this, why should I just wait for 2-3 years? I'm not saying you need to. I'm saying, but give it more time than we've had so far. And if in a fair few months' time, and we've actually had time, okay, does he make things better? Do things improve? And if he's had enough time, where that is a fair judgment to make by that point, and we don't see it, and even if it's you don't see it and I do, it doesn't matter. Then it's your opinion. That's what counts in this situation. Then fair enough. But I think for the time being, before we're far enough into it that we have, in my opinion at least, the ability to have a full judgment on it, I think it's too soon to lose our minds as much as a lot of people are. That's what I'm getting at. And that doesn't mean you have to be that forever. Once there's been enough time passed and you don't like what's happening, voice that. Say that. Say Potter out if you believe that. Fair enough, but I think now it's too soon. I think now saying it is purely reactionary. Now saying it is just purely, I can't handle the fact that we're struggling so much. But the fact that we're struggling so much isn't all on Potter. Like, it's on the wall, it's on the players, it's on the board, it's on the whole change of the club. This is not just on Potter. Just if you change Potter today, wouldn't fix the problem, in my opinion. Like, if
schedule World Cup.
Well, yeah,
there's so many things that go into things that I'm not going to sit here and say I know that Potter's going to be the guy. Because I don't.
No,
I have
because
no
he
clue.
doesn't. And anyone that tells you they know for a fact that Potter will be the guy, they are lying just as much as someone that says they know for a fact that he will not be. Because both don't know yet, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to understand that things take time to start to get together, right? Now, did Tuchel deserve more time? Probably. He probably deserved the season. But that's in the past now. We can't change that. He's not coming back. You can't do anything about it. It is what it is. Yes, was it bad at the time? Is it still bad?
Or maybe we at least have waited until the World Cup? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. Like, give Tuchel until the World Cup. If he got things better by then, amazing. And if not, then you have a perfect opportunity to change the manager. Not in September, 2 days after you just bought Zakaria and Aubameyang. That I would never understand that. And no matter how, hopefully, great of an owner Todd Boehly will be in the end, and we win God knows how many Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, and all amazing things, which we hopefully will get to. I will always remember that as, well, he started as an idiot. Because that is stupid. Not the 4-4-3 thing that everyone laughs about. That happens. How many times maybe not you guys, but how often have you accidentally typed 4-4-3 instead of 4-3-3? God knows how often I've accidentally said or typed that or whatever. But that, to sack the manager 2 days after the transfer window, after you just bought him 2 players and transfer deadline night, I would never understand that one.
Chelsea all the way. I hate the truth, right? It's Chelsea, not Accrington standing, right? Okay, so let me give you a clue, right? I understand what you guys are saying. I understand that you guys want trophies, you want it now, but here's the thing. This is where you guys' brain doesn't translate. If you want trophies, then we can win the FA Cup once every 3 years. We can win the Champions League once every 10 years.
Again, we haven't won the FA Cup since 2018. And before that, the last time we won the FA Cup was when? Tell me. When was the last time we won it before 2018?
But you can use that process. If that's what you want to do, and that's how you want to do things, sure. I don't give a shit about any of those trophies anymore. I want the Premier League, because that's one we haven't won in like 5 years. That's what I want. That's the best of the best. Sure, the Champions League was great. We just won it a year and a half ago. I'm great. Fantastic. We got that. I want the Champions League, or I want the Premier League now. And it's not going to come from this process. So I don't give a shit what anybody else says. I want long-term success. That's what I want. I want a dynasty. I don't want nothing. I don't want 1 year winning a trophy that may be cool, like an FA Cup or something. I don't want that shit. I don't care. I want long-term success. I want every year to be competing for the Premier League. That's what I want. And the way that you guys think it's going to happen It's not how it's going to happen. So it's not that I'm disillusioned. It's that you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
We also don't know doing it this way with this manager will make it any better. No, we don't.
Just maybe not with this manager. Sure, I agree to that. But we know
that
other teams do that and have done that.
Is the way to success, though. We do know that. Like everywhere, it proves that. Every country, whoever is successful proves that. Every country. Like no matter the league, the people with the best planning, with the best recruiting, with the best long-term projects are always the best.
And also there's little nuances in there too. Sometimes, yes, do teams who have a bigger payroll, who can pay more, do they do better immediately? For sure. We're not that. We're not City. We don't have unlimited oil money that can go and buy Haaland for 100 million, Jack Grealish for 100 million every year. We just don't have that. That doesn't exist. So how do you do it? You start to build players. You start to buy certain players in certain places that maybe those players are going to be good, and you develop them. You take chances. You take risks. That's how it works. That's how long-term success works.
Yeah. I think because what Fantasy PGA Tour says here is an absolute valid point. And I think, Pice, to some extent, you have that. That's where it comes from as well, right? Where the lack of trust in this idea. And I understand that as well. But think about it this way. If you were born in the 70s and you were 30 years old, you would think 4-4-2 will be the formation in football for the rest of time. Football has moved on. 4-4-2 is not the formation anymore. Yes, the way our club was run was successful for years. And that's why we had a very successful period from 2004 to 2012, essentially. And then we had a less so successful period after that. Now, okay, we won the Europa League, but did we want that? No, that only happened because we failed so hard in the group stages as reigning European champions, which is probably the most embarrassing thing that has happened in existence of our football club, unfortunately. Maybe aside from losing the Club World Cup final first time round. Then we needed Jose back. He won us the league, but how much else did he cost us? As much as I love him, the fact that because of him we lost De Bruyne and Salah and all of these players and lost Mata, we could have been in such a different position. Football has changed. We're not in this. The way we did it doesn't work anymore as well. It can work if you have enough money, but we don't now, and we didn't under Roman anymore. We didn't have enough money that works. And I mean, PSG and City have tried for years. Now, City in a different way, but PSG basically do what we do or did. They still can't win themselves the fucking Champions League, right? I know we
lost
did
the league last year.
2 years ago. Yeah. But yeah, it's just this is true what you're saying, Fantasy PGA Tour, but I think football has moved on, and this is not the best way to success anymore. I think that. Hey, everyone is entitled to have different opinions on that, but I don't think this is the best way to success anymore. And what I don't like is when a lot of people say, "Oh, you have mid-table standards, you don't want to win." No, I do. But I'm willing to wait a year or two for big trophies rather than paper over cracks for a few more years by winning a random League Cup or FA Cup and now pretend everything's good. Because that's what we've been doing for years. And every time it happens, 3 months later, we sit here, this trophy just papered over cracks. Every time we say it. But then when we're in the shits and someone asks you, are you willing to wait for it and not paper over cracks again? Everyone loses their shit and they can't. And they can't wait and they can't be patient. And I think, I mentioned that earlier, that comment by Rob, the RP journalism, because I think he's right. Because we haven't had the patience to try something out. And that, you're right, Pice, we don't know if Potter is the right guy. We don't. But we still need a long-term project. Now, we seem to have gone for that with Potter. We figure out, hopefully soon, hopefully by February, March, maybe by April, May, if it's good or not. If it's not, fuck, then we wasted a season for nothing. But what we've been doing is wasting 5, 6, 7 years in a row. Yes, we won a Champions League in between, but still those 5, 6, 7 years in a row with awful recruitment, constant managerial changes, having this mixed together squad is the reason for our struggles. The reason for our struggles isn't Potter. The reason for our struggles isn't even individual players. The reason for our problems is that we have a complete shit show of a club for the last 6 years. We got a fucking transfer ban. We didn't even know that we're not allowed to sign underage players. Sorry. It's what?
And I think a major problem is this fan base, Chelsea all the way. He's kind of exhibiting that. yes, we are Chelsea. We do expect to win. I understand all that. But you expect to win the Premier League, the Champions League, every year doing the same shit. And guess what? It hasn't worked for how long now? So why don't you try the same? Why don't you try something different? What is the definition of insanity? It's the most famous quote around. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. So you're going to sit there and tell me we're Chelsea. Yes, everybody agrees. Potter may not be the guy. But we don't know. Give him time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this super chat here by David, I appreciate the super chat. Absolutely. But unfortunately, I disagree with you. But Real Madrid and Bayern don't operate the way you guys say. Now, but Real Madrid certainly don't always. They have the Galacticos thing. But shocker, look at the history books and see when their worst times were. Weirdly, when they signed Beckham, Ronaldo, Zidane, Roberto Carlos, all of these players, when they had those, funnily enough, that's when they won the least amount of trophies. How weird is that, eh? How weird is that? Bayern live in a monopoly. Now, so it's basically not comparable to anywhere else anyway, except France, but because it's new, it's a bit different. But Bayern do operate the way we talk about. They have the managerial changes, but always under the same plan. They don't get completely different managers and give completely different players. And when they do, they tell the manager if he wants a completely different type of player. They're like, no, you're not getting him. They just tell them no. And that's why Bayern often fall out with managers, because managers want things, and Bayern are like, no, you're not getting it. End of discussion. And what you're saying, if a process that fails will destroy this club if it fails. I disagree with that. Now, I agree if you stick with the same thing too long, once you realize it factually doesn't work. But even if Potter isn't the guy to win us the Premier League or the Champions League again, what Potter can certainly do is set us up to, number one, recruit the right players with a manager where it's, with Tuchel, we're all like, we wasted a manager just because we weren't in the right moment of this new ownership right now. We weren't in the right moment to really extract the best from the manager, Thomas Tuchel. And that has gone for previous managers all the same, by the way. And if it then doesn't work for Potter, what you can do is, okay, you used Potter, a bit like we used Lampard, and a bit like we definitely used Sarri, to improve things, get things better, sign ideal players, make players better in certain ways. And then you get a manager, if you at some point want to stop with Potter, you get a manager that does things similar enough that it's not going to be a complete overhaul. And that's how you can do a process without necessarily always having to have the same manager. But you need to start somewhere. And if you kill it, like sacking Potter now, theoretically, before you ever started it, really, because how could we start? Like, he took over in September after the transfer window shut, got players that Tuchel wanted, not Potter wanted, obviously Cucurella, but we don't even know for sure whether Potter would have asked for Cucurella at Chelsea. We don't know that. Like, he likes him at Brighton, but whether Potter thinks Cucurella is the ideal player at Chelsea, we don't know for sure. He's never said that. So we can guess, but we don't know. So if you cut it off now, but it's important, what I do agree, if we do see it fails, then we do need to pull the plug. But not on the process, on the manager, right?
Can I make a statement? Because I think there's a couple people in chat that are kind of misunderstanding with what people are saying. There's somebody who's talking about, like, I think a lot of people are like, really, it boils down to, like, you're pissed that Thomas Tuchel got sacked. Fair enough. That's fair enough. I understand. Like, he and here's the thing. Anybody who's not Pep or Klopp coming after Tuchel was always going to struggle here. I'm sorry, at least with the fan base, because Tuchel, there's nobody like Tuchel within that personality. There's no one. I don't care who it is.
There's Jose. People probably would have accepted Jose, but
maybe, but that would have been a train wreck all the same.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just like, I see this, we don't know because we sacked a world-class manager, Tuchel, right? So, but in that same vein, I see somebody else tell me, well, I need to wake up because we had 6 finals under Tuchel and we were mid-season now. But you're also telling me those 6 finals, right? We have the same players, but those players are shit now, right? So what's the difference? Tell me. You can't have it all. You cannot have it all, and you won it all, and that's the point I keep trying to make. You cannot have it all. You either have some success over a shorting period of time, but you lose managers left and right, or you have a long period of success, with the same manager. And again, you have to stress this point. Graham Potter may not be that guy, but you don't know for sure yet. Yes, he's not playing great football at the moment, but there's a lot of reasons, a lot of nuances. A World Cup coming into it. I guarantee you, does Sterling give a shit about anything right now? No, he doesn't give a fuck. Does Mason Mount? No, guarantees he doesn't give a fuck. I would say it about Pulisic until today. He kind of actually tried. Would he have given a fuck? No, they don't. Because the dream for most players is the World Cup. And that's why it's stupid having it in the middle of the season when the results are the most important at the middle of the season. At the end of the season, it's still important, but the middle of the season, it's the most
It depends
important.
on who you are, innit? Like, if you're a top team and you're fighting for the title, the end of the season is even more important. Like us, who's like trying to get into top 4 but struggling, then the middle of the season is arguably more important, yeah.
It's a lack of understanding. Like, yes, there's a lot of situations. Did Tuchel pull us through a lot of bad situations? Of course he did. But also, were things getting better under him? No, they weren't. We lost 3 of the first, 6 or something like that? We weren't, and one of them was against Zagreb, by the way.
And people claim like we only lost against all these teams on the pod. And I know, Pies, what you said earlier, don't always talk about the past, but you talk about the past all the same, how much better Tuchel was, right? So.
There's a lack of clarity, and a lot of people, it's biases that come in. When I'm biased against Pulisic. I'm 100% favorite player on the team. I admit to that. But that's also why there's times when I think maybe I need to be a little bit harsher on him. I try to judge him in a sphere, right? I don't put him on the same regard. I judge him off of, okay, I understand I have a bias, but maybe I should check myself at the door on that. That's what I'm trying to do. And that's why it's all fairness within it. Yes, the World Cup is only affecting Chelsea. No, it is. It's affecting everyone. But guess what? Chelsea are in a different point than everybody else. City still have the world-class manager. You can't say that. Nobody's better than Pep.
Well, I quickly want to react to this comment by Enrique. Now, it isn't. It's worse. But if you think it was so, like, I didn't see all of your comments before, but if you're saying a sense of like, oh yeah, Tuchel was so much better, then you asking is Potter's any better? That isn't the solution, is it? Now, obviously, you have to compare the start of what happens to the start of what happens for a new guy. But the way things started are obviously very different, whether it's time of year, time of season, and injuries different. Are you laughing about that comment yet?
The Joey one where he said Tuchel didn't even get to build his team, but we bought Lukaku, we bought fucking Aubameyang, we bought Zakaria, we bought he got a chance to
use Aubameyang other than a completely injured one for.
It wouldn't have been much different. Aubameyang's not good enough. I'm sorry. Anybody who thinks he is, we fucked up massively with Aubameyang, massively. And it's one of the reasons why Tuchel kind of pissed me off a little bit in the end, because I'm like, oh, you're looking at Aubameyang as the guy who's going to come in and fix all of our fucking problems. Sorry, wrong. But but in that same vein, you're saying that Tuchel didn't even get a chance to build his team. What are you saying about Potter? Like, I'm sorry. It's just there's nuance to everything. I encourage you, Joey, to go and look up on Google what nuance means.
I encourage you to do that as well. Pice, I feel like we've left you out of this. Is there anything you want to still say? Otherwise, I'm going to round this one out.
No, I'm just listening. Some of the stuff I agree
maybe
with.
you had a reaction to all of the things we said. If you disagree, that's okay, bro.
No, I mean some of the stuff I agree with. Can't remember what I don't because you guys have been talking for ages now. But
we have, yeah. I do apologize.
Yeah. No, there's a couple of moments where I was going to butt in, but I thought I'd just let you guys. Clutch is very passionate like me today, so no, I think going forward from here, we just need to see what happens in January now, I guess. Obviously, we've got when do we actually start? I think is it December we start back, or is it?
I think it's the 27th.
December 27th. We don't actually play.
Right, yeah. So January is going to be absolutely massive for our season, and in some ways, I can't wait to look forward to it because I think throughout this whole stream and just in general, the whole sort of should we back this guy, should we back the process, blah blah blah. I think at least if the football's bad on the pitch, the one thing you can do is identify how you're going to make it better. Yeah. And I think it's a big window for him. There's going to be certain red flags that I'm going to be looking for, namely buying Ronaldo or, not identifying that we need a defensive-minded midfielder.
Mate, if we sign Ronaldo, I'm saying this right now, and I will stand by this, and everyone can quote me to this. If we ever, don't care whether it's now or in January or in the summer, if we ever sign Ronaldo, I will go to Stamford Bridge, get my sign out, and do a DT and just put Boehly out. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having that. Absolutely not.
Screen recorded.
Yeah,
No,
honestly, like
but,
no, not
but
having that. No.
like generally, I'm looking forward to see first off how I guess we improve when we come back because he's got a lot of time now to think and reflect on tactics and top four's not totally over, but we'd need a big run when we come back into things, and we need obviously results to go our way. There's a lot of the season left to go, but I think January's big now for me. I want to see first off how much they back him, but not only that because you could go and spend 100 million in January, and that could just be a waste. I want to see how he and the new recruitment team, like what they identify, what they think the issues are, because for me the issues are very, very clear in our squad. We need a defensive midfielder. We need 100% either backup right back or a right wing back or whatever. We need someone there because playing Aspi and Ruben there is doing my fucking head in. And if it's not doing his head in, then he's got serious issues. And we need we need some form of like actual just someone that just we can buy in for creativity. He may not be the best pace wise, but we need someone who can pass a fucking ball in the final third, and we can rely on consistently. Someone like an Ericsson or something that went to Man United, that type of profile, just even to bring on. You know what I mean? We need someone that just is a creator. No, yeah, he can do it. No. We need a creator, 100%. Okay, so if he identifies the right,
more proper wingers like Shaw,
we
Pulisic,
do. We can't get everything in one window, but I want to. We can't get everything in one window, but I want to at least to believe in him for at least a bit longer. I want to see him identify the right areas because even me with Tuchel, I was a bit worried with certain things he was identifying, like in the transfer window streams we were saying, this position here, like why is he doing this and why is he doing that? And that was becoming a concern, but obviously he just got cut off short. So we need to see what Potter's plans are for the squad before anything, I guess, is my final take on this.
I also think the longer we think Mason Mount is a solution to our creative problems, the farther we keep going back in this.
Don't get me started on Mount. Don't get me started on Mount.
But that also doesn't mean Mount can't be in the team. Because
But it means he needs to stop starting every fucking game.
Mount is supposed to be the main creator in the team. Who said that?
But he needs to stop starting every game.
That's what people who tell me he needs to start what he brings.
He needs to stop starting every game, and Potter needs to have the ball. So
he's a less creative version of.
It's ridiculous.
Is what my.
See, I don't think he drops him for a lack. He doesn't drop him for a lack of balls. I think he drops him because he's like, well,
I personally think he's another Willian. I think he's got some sort of upper powers on the squad, like genuinely, because. Like I generally, sometimes I don't know how he doesn't sit on the bench. He's genuinely crazy with his performances, and it could be an issue long term because if we have to build everything around Mount in the next 3-4 years, then that's an issue in itself, in my opinion. Like, is he of the level of Reece James? No, not even close. You know what I mean? He's not indispensable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. 6 weeks of the World Cup. I've still not 100% figured out what exact kind of content I will be doing during the World Cup. Obviously, we'll look at Chelsea players, how they perform during the World Cup. I do want to do like a World Cup predictor stream at some point, whether it's in the middle of the week or next weekend before it starts. So there will be stuff. So please stick around because it's not an easy time for us Chelsea content creators when they throw us all of a sudden a World Cup curveball in the middle of the season. We're like, well, what the fuck do I do now then? Because usually it's in the summer and there's at least some transfer stuff to talk about. But, so stick around. And on that note, please do subscribe if you haven't already. On the road to 20,000 subscribers, please subscribe if you haven't already. Big red subscribe button. Hit the notification bell button as well. Select all so you get notified whenever we do go live. And if you have any ideas about what you would like to see during the World Cup once this has turned into a video, put them in the comments. So I can go and look at those. Follow me on Twitter. Follow the boys on Twitter. Of course, their links are down in the description. And please check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com, for all your latest Chelsea news. I'm sure we will cover the World Cup from a Chelsea perspective as well. So take a look at that as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Upwards and onwards. 6 weeks now. 6 weeks that we don't have to bear this anymore, because trust me, guys, you can always say, oh, we're here for the content. Well, for me, you can maybe say that. For Clutch and Pice, most certainly you can't, because they're just here to be nice and to get things off their chest that pisses them off, essentially. But let's all try to use these 6 weeks to calm ourselves down a little bit, take a little bit of a step back, and just see what happens. And then after a few more weeks and a couple of months, if we're still of the opinion, if you guys still of the opinion, things are absolutely awful and you need to get rid, hey, come out with your Potter out stuff. I will maybe not agree, but I won't be as harsh to you as I am now, because I'm like, okay, at least you've given it enough time. Now I don't think you have. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.